I've thought of a way to make this very simple so you will understand. Would you please give me a spotlight? Do you get what I'm saying now? This is not about you. This is about me being in the spotlight where I deserve to be.
Hello, welcome everyone to the spotlight. We got an intro, Stephen Jensen.
That's awesome. I love that. I had no idea about that. Nice.
I created an intro for us. Dave Bautista doing the intro for us.
Awesome.
Look at that. We paid him a lot of money to do that. Do you know how much Bautista cost to do that promo for us?
Oh, I can only imagine.
Had to pony up for Bautista. He's a big Hollywood star. I said, Dave, can you help us out? I'll write more articles about your big dick. It'll be good. And he's like, all right, for you, Jeremy Lambert, anything. I'll cut this promo mentioning the spotlight. And he wouldn't, I had to pay him extra to say our names. He wouldn't do that, but he made sure to mention the show a couple of times. So we appreciate that, Dave Bautista.
Yeah, thank you. And Easter egg for anybody who's in the stream right away, right here, joining us on the spotlight. You're referencing, the size of Batista's dick, which was a long running joke back in the day on Sean Oliver's whatever that YouTube show is. That
Kayfabe commentaries. Yeah, YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know he just came back with Kevin Nash, which is really cool. I've been enjoying listening to them. But anyway, I remember back in the day, I found out years later, Sinbad, who was the person who was writing in about Batista's dick, that was none other than Black Label Pro owner Mikey Blanton the whole time.
Really?
So, yeah. Little Easter egg for you.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a collection of Sinbads that were all doing it, but I know for sure he was at least one of them because I remember him tweeting about something along those lines, probably 4 years ago. I just saw him tweet something about it, and I was like, I put two and two together, and I hit him up. I was like, dude, you Sinbad? And he was like, oh yeah. And I was like, oh no way. So yeah, small world.
That's like when Will Washington discovered that Randy Orton was on wrestling message boards the night he was going out there early against Shawn Michaels and stuff. I'm not sure Orton confirmed this, but Will Washington had a big post about it. Orton's watch Raw tonight. I'm going to be wearing a blue shirt or something, and it was Orton out there wearing a blue shirt getting super kicked by Shawn Michaels in his early days. Tony Khan, big message board dork back in the day, still is. He's very online. Not a dork. We love you, Tony.
Yeah. No, for sure. I know. No, I love AEW. If Tony ever comes across any of my work, I think it'll be pretty obvious I'm a big fan. So
I guarantee he sees your tweets. Tony Khan sees everything. He sees all that stuff. Stephen Jensen. I'll retweet your stuff more so to make sure Tony sees it. He'll start following you. He'll start following you. He'll love you. All right, everybody. We got a big show. We got a big show today. Tremendous show. One of the best lineups we've ever had. Joining us at 11, I believe. I hope.
We hope.
We hope. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I'll go ahead and promote it. If it doesn't happen, we'll just chalk it up to pro wrestling. New GCW Extreme Champion Cole Radrick is scheduled to join us at 11 o'clock live. Our first, I believe, well, not technically our first live interview, but our first live interview with a wrestler that's not pre-recorded. Yeah. We've had Connor and SB3 on doing live stuff. Live Cole Radrick at 11 o'clock. He's safe after the car accident that he was in this past weekend. Also competed at the GCW show, won the GCW Extreme title. So that's coming up hopefully at 11. Before that, though, we got a lot to talk about, Stephen Jensen. Plenty to talk about in the world of WWE, AEW. And you know what? We're actually going to start with, I guess, technically the indies.
Okay.
Technically the indies.
I'm going to give a big motherfucking shout out.
Ric Flair's last match, Stephen Jensen. It happened on Sunday. He teamed with his son-in-law, Andrade El Idolo, against Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. The best thing I can say about this match is Ric Flair did not die. Yeah. That's my comment on it. What'd you think of it? This was your spotlight, so I'm going to give the floor to you on this one.
Well, it had to be. We had to talk about this. Y'all can check the show out on Fight TV if you missed it. The replay is available. So yeah, man, it was. So the show itself was, I thought, done very well. Like the actual card, there was good matches. They were short matches for the most part, which I thought was I thought it was paced really well, especially for like, this show wasn't really for like a casual wrestling fan, but I think there was probably a lot of casual fans that were watching because they just heard it's Ric Flair's last match. So when they tuned in, I think it was a really digestible show. Like, you got really good wrestling, and the matches were like 5 to 10 minutes long, most of them. And I thought the actual card was good because it was, and I'd be fine with more cards being like this, honestly. Like, obviously I like shows like GCW and AEW and stuff where like you feel like the whole show you're just getting like top tier stuff from like start to finish and stuff. Like, you're getting full matches and stories playing out and stuff. But I like the contrast to something like this too, where you just get some good matches. They're quick, but they're good, and it's more about building up the main event. Like they're showing stuff throughout the night, getting you prepared for Ric Flair's last match, and showing the feud building up to it, which also I thought was done really, really well. Like those videos that they did with Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Ric Flair, I thought were really, really good. And Andrade being there with Rick, I thought it all made sense. The match itself, though, that was hard to watch.
Yes.
I'm just going to keep it real. There's really no, it was concerning. It really was, like, especially towards the end let me rewind a little bit. When Rick first came out on the entrance ramp wearing that robe, I was like, oh, this isn't going to be good, because
just immediately, like, oh boy.
Well, because for one, it looked like he was having a hard time just kind of like walking, but I think that was also partly due to the fact that he was wearing a heavy championship belt. He was wearing the old, the big gold belt. Yeah. And then he had like a hard time like taking it off and holding it. It felt like it was just everything I was watching. I was just like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And then like the match starts, and I mean, his lockup was okay. I mean, it was slow and it looked like, but it was like, okay, he locked up, like, okay. And then pretty much after that, it was like, Joel's like, it all made sense. What I mean by is like the story that they tried to tell of Flair saying Lethal wasn't good. Like, basically Flair saying Lethal is a jobber, and like he couldn't make it onto the show. And like that's what I mean by it making sense. And yeah, everyone was heel except for his son-in-law. I mean, it's definitely confusing. Joel makes a good point. I'm just saying, I think they did a good job with the videos of like explaining, because otherwise on paper, it just didn't make any sense at all. You'd be like, why is Jay Lethal even involved in this? And like, but he trained Rick. Anyway, my real point of bringing this up was like, I really don't want to see Ric Flair wrestle ever again. And I don't think he's going to, but I hope he isn't in a position where he needs the money so badly that he keeps doing this to himself, and that somebody is going to exploit him enough to do it. I'm not saying Conrad exploited Rick. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if this were to happen again, and it was like some shady promoter or something, like I would have a real bad feeling about a lot of it. And by the end of the match, Rick could not stand on his own. He couldn't put the brass knuckles on himself. He pinned himself with the figure 4 because he was so exhausted. He couldn't stand up after the match. I literally thought there was a possibility he was just like, because like the match ended and like the announcer is like announcing that Ric Flair's won, and they're trying to like scrape Flair off of the mat, like get him onto his feet. And part of me felt like he was just laying there and telling him like, this is it. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like it was uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to see that happening to people, that I looked up to when I was growing up and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just tough. It was tough to watch. I thought Andrade and dude, I think Jeff Jarrett's in phenomenal shape. Like I said that during SummerSlam too, when he was wearing like the cutoff sleeves for the special ref thing. I was like, dude, Jeff Jarrett looks like $1 million. Like, good for that guy. I thought Jay Lethal and Andrade really worked their asses off to try to make this something. And Rick just, let me ask you this question before I get your thoughts. Honest question. If you had to pick one, like who do you think we would rather watch right now? the Ric Flair we just saw, or Tyrus? Like, it's a legitimate question.
It's a great question. Oh man, I'm gonna go with Rick, and I'm going with Rick because, man, this is a mean question. Honestly, this is very mean. I'm going with Rick because, like, he's 73. At least I can give the excuse for him of being 73. My expectations are very low for a 73-year-old. Tyrus is shit. He's 49. Why the fuck is he wrestling? Oh,
he's about to be like the champion of everything too. He's already the TV champ. He's talking about the tag titles. Like, he's about to wrestle for the world title. But no, you're right. At least Flair has the excuse of being. I mean, for being 70, I'll say this: for being 73, he actually probably did pretty well. You know what I mean? Like, look, I haven't seen many people that age even attempt it. So
right, for a 73-year-old, my expectations were very low, and they still managed to not clear the bar. But my expectations were very low. Really, my expectations were don't die. Sorry, that's not horrible. Expectations were don't die, and he didn't. So great. They did clear the bar, I guess, in that sense. It did look like at the end where he wasn't moving. It's like, oh man, please get up, like. Please. Yeah, he cut a promo where he put over Kid Rock
the whole time
above everybody else, which was great. So yeah, it's, I guess, Ric Flair. I guess that's a mean question, Stephen Jensen. Yeah. That's a very mean question. I mean, some dudes, I think Rick was hoping.
I don't try to be mean, but like, you know, we talk about how immobile Tyrus was, and you know, I felt like a fair question to ask. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
It's fair. I don't know. You can ask whatever you want. It's just, I think it's mean, but it's very fair. Some dude said, I think Rick was hoping he would die. He said it like, he wants to go out on top of his wife or in the ring. So yeah, that's how he wants to go out. Bless the man, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's still out there partying with Kid Rock after the match. Like, he's still living his life. I mean, good for him.
He said he was drinking before the show, like all week leading up to it. The interview he did with TMZ, where he's like, oh, I got the pacemaker, and it's like, you're not supposed to do it like 2 times, whatever your age is. So he's like, I'm not supposed to get this thing above like 140 something. He's like, I'm getting up to 190. I got it up to 203. It's like he's trying to set the fucking high score on the pacemaker. It's like, what are you doing out there? This is not like, you know, the speed thing. I think the
speed runner.
Yeah, no. Dan Cook does the joke where it's like, oh, when you drive past the speed limit thing and it shows your speed limit, he's like, I try to set the high score on that thing. That's like what Rick is trying to do with his pacemaker. Like 203 at 73. Can anybody beat that? What are you doing? Come on, guys, get it up here. Feels like that's what Rick's trying to do. Like, man, it wasn't a good match. I didn't expect it to be a good match. Flair did more than I kind of thought he was going to do. I thought Lethal and Andrade would work more than they did. But Flair, he bled. Of course, he bled. He went to the top rope at one point, and it looked like he wanted to take the superplex off the top, because Jay Lethal has said, like, in training that, like, yeah, he wanted to take the superplex off the top. And even Flair was like, I'm going to come off the top rope. They didn't do that, thank God. I think that might have been a death waiting to happen if he had come off the top rope with that superplex. Thankfully, they pulled him down. They just gave him a regular suplex, which still looked terrible and wasn't good. I like the show overall. I like the presentation of the show. It gave you a nostalgia feel while feeling like a big time event. You mentioned Flair like wrestling again. I don't think he will. They said it a bunch of times that it wasn't about the money for him. It was about pride. He wanted to do like an actual last match that people saw. They accomplished all that. He said that he's been offered $100,000 by promoters, like even before this match took place, to do another match, and he's turned it down. So I'm going to trust Ric Flair, famous last words, and say that he actually won't wrestle again after this. And I think anyone who tries to get him to wrestle again after this is culpable in whatever happens and should not be doing any type of dealings in the wrestling business, because that could end very badly. Because it seemed like on Sunday it was going to end very badly, and if you're going to have just more time pass, it's only going to make it worse. Please don't wrestle again. Thanks for this last match that no one actually needed. I'm sure next year we'll get Hulk Hogan's last match courtesy of Conrad Thompson. I'm serious.
Hogan versus Flair. Remember, when they wrestled each other in Australia after Flair retired from the WWE. That was like 10 years ago, which is like they're already at that point then. One other takeaway from the show, the Undertaker looked fucking disgusted. Like he was sitting there in the front row, just like, fuck this. Like he looked really angry.
I got one for you. Who had a better last match, Ric Flair or Bret Hart?
Man, see, that's a lot meaner than me asking about the title thing. I would say, dude, that's a really good question. Because the Bret Hart Vince McMahon thing was bad, really bad, especially because it's Bret Hart. Like, I mean, same with Ric Flair. I mean, we're talking about two of the best ever, depending on kind of
technically, Bret wrestled like a handful of like tag. He beat the Miz, right? He beat the Miz in like the little
U.S. title, right?
Yeah, the U.S. title. That was after all of the Vince.
That's
technically,
right.
Those are his last matches. The last match everybody remembers is the Vince McMahon match at WrestleMania.
I would say the Vince. Honestly, oh man, that's a good question because like the Bret Hart match, like that was a lot of like family run-in and just like him hitting Vince with like a chair and stuff. There really wasn't much to it as far as wrestling. Rick at least attempted to wrestle. It was just really slow and really cringe. Like it all just felt sketchy. Like, and then once he started getting really gassed out, and like I don't know if he was drunk or not.
Gassed out when he got to the ring.
He was. Well, I'm talking so gassed out he couldn't stand though. Right. Like at the end of the match when he was literally shaking and they had to like hold him up and like put the brass knuckles on his hand. It was like, man, this is. It felt like it was. I talked about this with Doug on Tuesday. Like it felt somewhere in between, like it felt somewhere in between like watching Undertaker versus Goldberg in Saudi Arabia and watching Scott Hall walk out to the ring that one time when he was so wasted that like he like couldn't, he was like, shaking, trying to get into the ring. It was like one of the scariest things I've ever seen. Jake the Snake has done similar things too, where like you go out to the ring and it's like, I'm not making fun of these people, by the way. It's like, it's legitimately scary. And I never want to see people get to this point, but it was somewhere in there where it was like, he was capable of doing a few moves, but like, a handful of minutes into the match, he was just laying there, and you're just like, he laid on the apron of the ring for like minutes at a time at points where he just wasn't even standing there for tags. He was just laying there. And you're just like, is he okay? And then also, I brought up the Undertaker, Undertaker, Bret Hart. See, it's funny when you see that. When you see Bret Hart, you're probably thinking he's like, man, I'm glad this wasn't me. Like, all right. Like I thought my last few matches weren't great, but this makes me look pretty good. And Mick Foley's just there because he's the nicest guy in the world. Like he's just there to support anybody who needs support. And the Undertaker, I feel like this went one of two ways for Undertaker. He either saw that and was like, I am never stepping foot ever in the ring again because I never want that to be me. Or he's going, I got to get in the ring a few more times now before that's me. You know what I mean?
I think Taker he's good in that his last match was against AJ. And like, even though it wasn't in front of fans or anything, like that was a good last match to go out on. And fans are going to have that memory of Undertaker, that being his last match, even though it wasn't in front of them. Like he got his Hall of Fame speech and everything. He got to say goodbye. And that you want to go out on a last match that is memorable. And even if it's not billed as your last match, like you want to go out on something like that. Don't come back. Like this is why Shawn Michaels fucked up. Is like his last match was perfect against Undertaker. And then he comes back for that Saudi show. And it's like, well, now your actual last match sucked. And it was an embarrassment. That's where he messed up. And now I don't think Michaels is going to do it again, but he was actually the best performer in that match.
And he refuses to acknowledge that ever even happened. Like he just
he said he's like, that doesn't count. A live event. Yeah. He's like, it's a house show match. It doesn't really count. It's like, nah, dude, like you took a bunch of blood money to do that match. It counts. I don't think Taker's coming back because Taker, he's even said, like, I don't want to get to the point of embarrassment. That match now was 2-3 years ago. So I think Taker's done. I think Taker's like, that AJ match, that's a fitting end to this career. Definitely don't try to do this shit when you're like 73. But this is why I think Hogan's coming back. I think Conrad's going to come to him and like, how much can we milk this for? Because Hogan talked about years ago wanting to do it. Now it's been a few years, but I still think he's going to do it because he saw how much success Flair had. His last match was against, I think it was against Flair in a match that like no one saw in Australia. I think Hogan's going to end up doing something for one last time. I would not shock me at all if we get Hulk Hogan's last match this time next year.
Yeah, and that's in it's in LA, right? WrestleMania.
Yeah. Oh, that makes it like
Yeah.
if they do I don't know if they can do like a Starcast weekend in LA though. Who knows where SummerSlam is? Because WrestleMania is 2 nights, so it's tough to do. They looked out here where they could do Sunday. What was built around Flair, so I think that's why it'll probably be like a SummerSlam weekend, an event where it's not 2 nights. But yeah, get ready, folks. Hulk Hogan's last match, SummerSlam weekend, 2023. Kate says,
if it happens, I'll be watching.
Rick and Kid Rock versus Arn and Tully. Who's the best worker in that match?
Right now, probably Arn. Yeah.
And he hasn't been moving well in AEW, though.
No, but we've at least seen him throw some competent, like, spine busters every now and then.
In AEW, he hasn't thrown one in AEW, has he?
Has he not done one in AEW? I know he did one a couple in WWE every now and then when he'd, like, show up. But that was also a long time ago now.
That was years ago.
It really was years ago.
He's falling off the ramp in AEW. He's falling off the ring apron.
But it wouldn't be Tully. There's no way Tully can go.
Kid Rock might be the best worker.
It might be Kid Rock. It's always been Kid Rock. Let's be honest. What was so funny about that too was like the Ric Flair speech afterwards when he just kept bringing him up. It's like why? Like it was just bizarre. The whole thing was just bizarre. Like I get the Kid Rock and like I don't know. I don't think it's that cool at this point, like to be associated with Kid Rock. Like I grew up. I was a huge Kid Rock fan growing up. Trust me, I had like his poster on my wall. I had all his albums and everything. Right, like I was huge.
Ball with the Ball fucking slaps, man.
It was incredible.
That album was great.
And that was during the era of TRL when like he was humongous. And I remember it was the first album had the middle finger on it. The one with Ball at the Ball, like the one where the album he blew up on. Devil Without a Cause was the name of that album. And then he had some really good ones. He had some really good albums. And here's another thing. He means a lot to the WWE for certain reasons
they
too.
They friggin' used the Kid Rock song for SummerSlam as the theme song for SummerSlam 2022.
See?
It was this year they used the Kid Rock song.
And that transitions into another point I need to bring up because I've seen divisiveness online about this, and I think some people are crazy if they dispute this. Limp Bizkit 1 billion% deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. Like that's not even debatable. Like because Kid Rock's in there. Like how is Limp Bizkit not in there? Anyways, would you? Well, I know you'd agree because you're a Limp Bizkit fan, but
I do like Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, but I mean, I just think it's preposterous that they're not in the WWE Hall of Fame, But yeah, as far as Ric Flair's stuff goes,
don't do it again.
Yeah, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see him do it again. I'm not like holding like Conrad responsible or like saying Rick shouldn't have done. I'm just saying like we saw what it was. We saw what it wound up being. That was pretty much worst case scenario outside of like really bad injury or death. Like I feel like we all as fans and everybody involved kind of got away with one there. Like I feel like that should have probably wound up worse than it did. So like we got through it and now it's just
don't do it again.
Hopefully it's just out of everyone's system.
Yeah. My indie spotlight is an actual wrestling match where both people survived and actually looked good and they will wrestle again. Thankfully, Jon Moxley against Blake Christian headlined the GCW versus the People's Show on Friday night. This show took place, I believe, as part of SummerSlam weekend. Moxley once again defends the GCW world title against Blake Christian. That was a good match, but my question to you, Stephen Jensen, and I love Jon Moxley. When's this reign going to end for Jon Moxley? He shows up for the big shows and everything. Don't get me wrong. Like it's not like he's not a present champion for the company. But I'm looking at the roster and like they haven't really built anybody to take this belt off of him. He's having cool matches. Like I love watching him wrestle Blake Christian and breaking out the glass and everything and this stuff and doing fun Jon Moxley matches. And Blake Christian gets a spotlight on him facing the GCW champion and the interim AEW champion, but like, who is taking this belt from him? Because we thought maybe New York Homicide at the Hammerstein show. You thought maybe AJ Gray earlier this year. Now it's like, I don't think Nick Gage is in any type of position to take the title. Like, who is coming in to take this title from Jon Moxley?
So a couple things before I answer that question. One, I meant to message you about this because I actually got a good laugh out of it. I was on the Fightful website the other day. When I record the Weekender, what I usually do is I go through the results section of Fightful and make sure I'm not like missing any shows that like I needed to check out to watch. And one of them you gave the results for, and I can't remember what show it was, but you put the results happening on July 32nd. And I was like, what the hell?
Oh, was like good.
It was a typo. But I was like, but it wasn't a big, I mean, it had, all the results were correct, but I was like, because I was about to like read it on air and I was like, this show took place on like July 32nd. Like, that's not a real day. I can't remember which one. It was an indie show, maybe like the Sup results or something.
Oh.
But yeah, I meant to message you about it. I just thought it would be funnier to call you out on the air right now about that.
That's not nice. Don't call me out on the air.
That day doesn't exist. The results were correct, Jeremy. The actual job was done correctly. It was a typo on the date. I'll try to find it for you because I can tell you're trying to find it to correct it right now.
I am.
It was not a big deal.
Like that.
It was not a big deal at all. Obviously, I just thought it was funny because I saw that date and I was like July 31st or 32nd. Anyways, well, to answer your actual question, they did a really good job of building Blake Christian towards that title match. So I'll give them credit for that. I think Blake Christian is fantastic in the ring. I feel like he's just missing something. Like he's just missing a little something character-wise. There's like that little, I don't want to say it's even like the it factor that he's missing because I think he has it. It's just something's a little bit missing on it. Now, on the flip side, as long as you have access to Jon Moxley, I understand wanting to have Jon Moxley keep that title. I mean, the amount of eyes you get on your company with him as your champion, the reactions he gets, and he's perfect for the GCW brand. Like, he doesn't feel like an outsider carrying their title. He is the kind of guy where, like, if he wasn't a full-time AEW wrestler, he'd probably be at every GCW show. Like, so Jon Moxley's the man. I love that he's the champion there. I think he fits great. I think it works great. Nick Gage is getting into a lot better shape, so I'm looking forward to his return. But I think that whoever Moxley loses to, it needs to be a quote unquote homegrown GCW talent. From the fan perspective, like, there are a lot of these. I mean, all of these wrestlers for the most part wrestled elsewhere prior to GCW. Like, so, but same with WWE and same with AEW. If we're being fair though, like, so when I say homegrown GCW, I mean somebody who you see on like all the GCW shows. It's been there for a while, that you really associate with the brand. And I feel like someone like that is who should beat Jon Moxley for the title eventually. So I would rule out Nick Gage because I don't think that really does a whole lot for anybody. Because like we've seen Gage, he was a long-term champion. He's been the champion multiple times. He's the man, but like I think they need to think more of their future. I thought AJ Gray was for sure going to win the title, but I think there's a variety of reasons why he didn't. And now he's lost the Extreme Championship as well, which we're going to talk about with Cole. Denzel Vance says Everett Connors. I love Everett Connors, but I don't think he's really he's been away for a while overseas with his girlfriend Charlie Evans. I love Everett though. Dude, I was watching Everett Connors. I saw probably his first match he ever had in front of fans in St. Louis, probably 5 years ago. I saw Everett Connors before he had any gimmick, before he was dyeing his hair, before any of that stuff. He was in that same group of guys that I got to watch come up all together out of that area, like Dan the Dad and Warhorse and Everett and Myron Reed and like all those dudes. Anyways, my choice would be, as of this moment, would be Jordan Oliver. Because I think that they've done a really good job of building him recently. He's been in GCW for years, and he kind of teetered in like that mid-card level for a while. And now it feels like he's getting big wins. Like he just beat Bandito one-on-one like last week. He's stacking up big singles wins, and he would be recognized as like a homegrown GCW guy. The first time I saw him was in this company called, do you remember Urban Pro Wrestling?
I've heard of it. Yes.
Okay, I remember him being in that when he was like a teenager. Like he was like a skinny, lanky, like literal teenager back then. And anyway, I would go with Jordan Oliver. I think he just makes the most sense for what the company could benefit from having one of their own guys beat Moxley for that title. But I would hold off on it until you just don't really have access to Mox. Like if you have even occasional access to him, I'd keep the title on him because I think he does a lot of good for the company. But it would be nice to have a GCW champion there again that's defending on like every show. I do miss that aspect of a GCW world champion. And Jordan Oliver would definitely defend on like every show because he's always there. So
what do we think of Effie? Because Effie's going to challenge Moxley at GCW Homecoming. That's a big event for them. It's a 2-night event. Like, do they go with Effie? And this is Effie's homegrown, got a big spot at the Hammerstein show, lost to Jeff Jarrett because Jeff Jarrett, smartest worker in history.
Swindled everyone.
Yeah. But like, is Effie a possibility here? Because I kind of feel like it might be aligning for him a little bit.
I feel like Effie is an absolute possibility. I would be very happy for Effie, and I think the fan base would be very into it. I just for whatever reason, I'm just kind of locked in on Jordan Oliver. And this isn't something that I just came up with like right when you asked me this question. Like I've been talking about Jordan for a while, potentially being this guy pretty much ever since AJ lost. I was really racking my brain to think like who could it be. But no, here's the thing. If it's Effie, I'm totally fine with that. He absolutely deserves to be rewarded like that within GCW. Means a lot to the brand, perpetually over at all times with all crowds, has really good matches, but I just have a feeling about Jordan Oliver, but if Effie won the title, I would be absolutely fine with it.
I'm not saying Effie's going to win at Homecoming weekend. I do think maybe they need some type of splash for that weekend, and Effie winning the title would make sense because I think Moxley, I mean, he's going to continue to ramp up when it comes to AEW. And I think he'll still make GCW appearances. But after the way they kind of treated Effie at the Hammerstein show, and I don't know what went on behind the scenes there, but clearly Jarrett pulled some Jeff Jarrett's.
Well, because they were still building towards a rematch. Like when he signed with the WWE again. Like they were running video packages like teasing a rematch. And then like now it's just not happening. Yeah.
I think it'd be a good look to put the belt on Effie. After the way they kind of did him dirty on that. And Effie's a good representative for the championship for them. He gets some publicity and everything. So I wonder how much AEW plays into the call there of, hey, we don't want Jon Moxley losing to Effie type of thing. We don't want Jon Moxley losing to this person, to that person. And that's why it hasn't happened. I think Moxley would probably just be like, well, fuck it. Like I need to do business. Like nobody's going to look at Jon Moxley as lesser than because he's losing on a GCW show. But I do wonder how much that plays a factor into things.
Yeah. Well, and also this is awesome. And, one of Effie's good friends, Mance Warner, will be wrestling Jon Moxley on Rampage this week in a title eliminator, which is, it's great to see these people from GCW that, I think they're doing great for themselves in GCW. It's not one of those things where I feel like Mance Warner needs to leave GCW and go to AEW or whatever. I'm just saying, like, I think that these people deserve this kind of platform. Like, it's cool as hell that Mance is going to get a whole nother wave of fans that have never seen him before just because he's appearing on AEW. And hopefully that translates into more people watching GCW. And it really just cross-pollinates the whole wrestling landscape when you do stuff like that. And I think it'd be smart to get Effie on AEW TV as well if they could. I know he can be a controversial figure for certain reasons sometimes, but overall, I think Effie just is very infectious. Like I've seen him wrestle even in like bars and high school gyms and stuff, like before he was really that popular. And even then, like he really knew how to work an audience. Like by the end of the match, like everyone wants to see Effie again, you know, his entrance, he gets a big reaction every time and he has good matches. None of this matters if he wasn't a good in-ring wrestler. And he is. And that's something that I think really needs to be spotlighted right now on the show about Effie is like, he gets a lot of publicity for, you know, how big he is for like the LGBTQ plus community and like the way that he dresses and some of the outlandish stuff you might see him do in some of these shows and stuff like that. But he can wrestle. And at the end of the day, that's what matters most. Like, he is a great in-ring wrestler and he's a great storyteller. And you add the other things on top of it, and that will get you a really loyal fan base on top of it. So I think the kind of secret sauce of what Effie has put together for his career and the position he's in right now is it's very admirable, honestly, because especially for him being as like openly out as he is and everything that he does for that community and everything. Like, we're talking about a wrestling business that, I mean, not that long ago, you would have been like probably cut out of the business completely if anybody knew that you were gay. You know what I mean? And now he's not only thriving, he's a whole movement in himself, it feels like. So I think it'd be very cool for him to win the GCW championship. I'm definitely cool with the idea of that. I just personally have this feeling about Jordan Oliver. You know how that is sometimes, where you just get something in your head and you're like, I just feel like this is what's going to happen. But I've been wrong plenty of times in the past. So it could be Effie. And if it is, if Effie wins the GCW World Championship, I'll be one of the first people in his DMs trying to get him on the show. Trust me. So.
Well, now I'm rooting for Effie, so we can get Effie on the show. It'd be great. You go from Renee Paquette to doing our silly show. So big step down for him.
Want to be a professional wrestler, or do you want to be a WWE superstar? WWE superstar sounds a whole lot better to me than being a professional wrestler.
Is Logan Paul your favorite WWE superstar, Stephen Jensen?
I was trying to dab there. The screen's a little too small. And I don't want to knock anything over. That'd be my luck, is like I tried dabbing on screen, like knock my microphone out of the thing or something. But dude, Logang. I've said this before and I'll say it again. This is part of why I like Logan so much. I had the opportunity to meet him a couple years ago at a UFC event, and it wasn't like a meet and greet or anything. I literally just saw him walking around. Like, no one was around him. No one knew it was him. And I was just like saw from like a little distance. I was like, is that Logan Paul just like standing around? Like, you're just like standing around like concessions, like at a UFC show. Like, and I was like, so I walked up to him. I was like, hey man, I feel like you beat KSI the last fight. And he was like, he like gave me knucks. He was like, bro, me too. Like, I thought that was bullshit. And then and then I started to just like talk to him for a couple minutes. We were just standing there, and like, super nice guy. Like, I was like, why does everyone hate this guy so much? Like, he's actually a really, really nice dude.
I mean, they hate the guy because.
Well, no, I know about the Suicide Forest, and I know about the throwing Pokeballs at people in Japan. No, I get why they don't like him. I should rephrase that. I understood it, but when I met him in person, I was like, this is actually a really nice guy. And then within a couple of minutes, people started recognizing he was there, and he started getting swarmed for like selfies and stuff. And I just kind of dipped out, But yeah, the couple minutes I talked to him, I was like, dude, this guy, he at least treats the people who approach him very nicely. He could have easily been like, dude, I'm having a night to myself, man. Fuck off. But instead he was like, yeah, man, appreciate that. Like, I feel like I beat him too. And then I was like, yeah, man, I hope you get to do MMA one day. Like, I actually pull for you to do well, And anyway, he was a really nice guy. And then when I see him succeeding the way that he's succeeding in the WWE, like, here's the thing. You got to have balls to fight Floyd Mayweather, right? Like, I know it was a giant mismatch, and I know it was a freak show and a spectacle, but like, you have to have balls to do that kind of stuff. He has a work ethic that's very impressive. He's in great shape. He's young. He's athletic. He's charismatic. He has millions upon millions of social media followers. Him in the WWE, this is a strange occurrence for Logan too, because it's probably hard for him to find things that are as big, if not bigger, than his brand is. So, like, to be with the WWE, WWE has like 90 million YouTube subscribers. Like, they're like one of the top subscribed channels in all of YouTube, which is like huge. Logan has like 20 something. And we're talking just YouTube, of course. But my point is, like, Logan can continue to grow with the WWE, and WWE is going to bring in more fans because of having Logan. His fan base that doesn't watch wrestling is going to tune in for him and then hopefully stick around for the rest of it. So I think the partnership between WWE and Logan Paul is very mutually beneficial to everybody involved. And then when you see him wrestle, I know last week I said Pat McAfee's the best celebrity wrestler I've ever seen. I think now I've got to say that's Logan Paul. Like, Logan Paul looks like he can just do this. That frog splash through the announce table is one of the best announce table spots I've ever seen.
It was so clean. It was so clean.
So how did you feel about it? I thought he knocked it out of the park, dude.
Real quickly on like the mutually beneficial thing. Logan Paul said as much on his podcast after he signed. He's like, WWE's got major influence, major reach, and it can help us. Like it can help me. It can help the entire brand. I mean, his shows do like millions of views. Like his podcast get more views than just whatever video WWE puts out there. And then he's associated with, I don't know these YouTube influencers like Sidemen and all this stuff, but what they just put out a video that has like 10 million views, and that was in 24 hours. Now this was like 2 weeks ago. I'm sure it's a lot more now, but yeah, they pull in a ton of views and stuff. Does this translate to television ratings and whatnot? I don't know, but that's not the only way to measure success nowadays. Like, you look at Twitter followers, you look at YouTube numbers, like that's what some brands will look at when it comes to being associated with WWE and things like that. As far as like Logan Paul's performance goes, like he was good at WrestleMania. I thought he was very good at WrestleMania. It was a tag team match. He was in there with Rey Mysterio. I mean, look, he wasn't the worst worker in that match. Dominic Mysterio, he's already better than Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah,
this guy's been wrestling and training for years. The singles match I had a little not like doubts about because he's wrestling The Miz, and say what you will about The Miz, like you're gonna get like a good WWE match out of The Miz. It's tough to just have like an outright terrible match against The Miz because he's just gonna work the WWE style, and it's gonna be what do you? Oh God, you have a Miz hat. Okay, I was like, what are you doing? Like you're gonna get just a good WWE match out of The Miz. So I thought it was gonna be like fine, but it was better than fine. I thought Logan was really good in the match, and yeah, that frog splash. I was watching it, and the Beyonce is just like, I hate how good that was because she's not a fan of Logan Paul. And she's just like, I hate how good that frog splash actually was because that thing was fucking clean on that. Like it looked really good. And he's good, man. Say what you will about him, but like, and I know there are reasons to dislike him. I will say people change, people mature. It does seem like based on every interview I've heard from him, it seems like he has remorse over what he did and like actual regret and is like actually trying to better himself and stuff. I do think he can come off a bit like douchebaggy, but I think that's almost like every like influencer almost. I just feel like if you're in that world, you just kind of have a douchebag scent to you. But as far as wrestling goes, he gets it in the ring. Some of his mic work could be cleaned up, and maybe that'll be a little bit better, honestly, without like being as scripted. Right. But as far as like his in-ring work goes, he seems to get it. And I listened to him and Pat McAfee talk yesterday. They did an interview together, and man, the bro fest they were having with each other on McAfee's show was something else.
I haven't seen that yet, but I would love to see those two like team together or be like on the opposite side of a tag team match.
Will you like ascend to heaven if we get a Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul tag team? Because I've never heard this Logan Paul story from you. I didn't realize you were bros with Logan Paul doing knucks at UFC.
Dude, it's every day, bro, with the Disney Channel flow. You didn't know that?
I don't know.
That was Jake Paul's one of his songs. They have really bad music out there.
That sounds awful.
Oh yeah, I remember Logan coming out years ago with some like Santa Claus diss track or something. I mean, it was for a kid audience, but I keep my head enough in there that I'm like, kind of know what's going on. I mean, I watch more. Just full disclosure, I watch more YouTube than any other form of entertainment. Like, I mean, it's so. I'm very in tune with kind of like what's going on YouTube and who's big on there and who gets big views and whatnot. But like, dude, it's funny because you mentioned like kind of the douchebag factor of Logan. I think that a lot of that also comes from like I'll use like nerdy internet kind of Twitch type terms here, incel type terms almost. Logan's like he's a Chad that is trying to at the same time be a part of like nerd culture. And what I mean by that is like he's one of those guys that like I think rubs people the wrong way because you see him and you're like, this is like a good looking dude. All the girls want him. He's athletic. He's rich. He's famous. He has millions of followers, but he's collecting Pokemon cards. You know what I mean? Like, you know, he's like got his foot in like both worlds. It's kind of strange. He's like this like womanizer on one end, but he's also spending millions of dollars to be the only person to own like an Illustrator Pikachu card. You know what I mean? Like it's like, you know, he's like riding both lines, but I think at one hand is really smart because you're getting a lot of fans kind of across a large spectrum of ages and in different types of people and stuff. But like but I understand too how, because honestly, a part of it now part of the hate for Logan, once again, it stems from old stuff he did on YouTube, which I understand was very, very unlikable. I understand that 100%. I used to dislike Logan a lot. Trust me, I was with y'all. But I'm also one of the people, like Jeremy just said, where like I feel like over time you can change, and like I think he's kind of proven that he's changed quite a bit since those days. But like, man, I think he's doing a great job in the WWE, and him and Cody, I love the idea of that. Obviously, I think that would be great. But I think that's also another reason why Logan gets a lot of hate. And this isn't just confined to Logan. I think it's another reason people hate on Cody and other people in their kind of boats is because they're, I don't want to say jealousy, but like it kind of is. Because like when you see someone like Cody, you're like, once again, it's the same kind of things you're checking off this list. It's like good looking guy, rich, famous, great at what he does, like always getting these big pushes. Like Logan's always, you know, doing big things. Cody's always doing big things. You say the same thing about Charlotte. Keeps winning championships, looks great, family lineage, so on and so forth. And I think it's just really easy for some people to hate on people that are just super successful. Like it's like, you know, because they're like, you know, that can't be me, so I'm just gonna hate on that person. And I feel like Logan is a victim of that big time of like, let me put it this way. If you watch the WWE SummerSlam this past weekend and you're just full on hating on Logan, you're just a hater because he went out there and he performed. You can't say he didn't do well in that match against The Miz. And, you know, especially in comparison to other celebrities, like Bad Bunny did well. Pat McAfee did well. We've also seen some celebrities do terrible. I think Logan might be the best celebrity we've seen do this. And I think he just deserves credit. And I think it's smart that WWE extended him and he's doing more matches and it's mutually beneficial to everybody. And dude, if he's good enough, they'll put him in like real matches with like real stakes. I feel like he could get a WWE title shot at some point. I could see it happening. The publicity would be huge for the company if they did that.
They're going to headline Rumble with Logan Paul and Roman Reigns. Get ready, everybody. Get ready.
That'd be wild.
Roman Reigns. They like him as a baby face. They think he's a baby face, which I don't totally agree with. He comes off more as a heel to me, but they're gonna headline Rumble. He does. I will say, like when it comes to like the baby face stuff, because he genuinely seems to like enjoy it and everything. He gives off more of a baby face vibe than somebody like Ronda Rousey right now, who could has the sour face a lot of times, and they smartly turned her back heel. Like Logan does seem like he's out there and like really seems to enjoy it and is having a good time and is like fired up and everything. And that's going to maybe come across a little bit better, and they can slowly get the audience to cheer for him a little bit. I do think right now there is too much like, this guy's a douchebag and we want to boo him. And obviously being aligned with the Miz doesn't help to start with, but they seem to think this guy is a big baby face. And so, yeah, get ready for Logan Paul against Roman Reigns, everyone. He's going to eat one spear. That's the thing. Is like he ain't taking like a huge bump. Yeah, I know going through the table is one thing. He's gonna fucking eat that spear from Roman Reigns, and he might rethink this whole business after that.
You know, it'd be a good spot. Would be Roman going for the spear, and Logan does the splits under him. Like Roman goes like right over the top of him. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Good. If he catches Logan Paul like out of the air, like he does some people. Who'd he Riddle? He murdered Riddle.
He's got AJ bad before too, and Shane got a bad one.
Yeah, Shane was basically he just got the wind knocked out of him, and they tried to pin him, but his shoulder was up. That was a great spot. Yeah,
he was actually like he wasn't even selling. He was actually like
just hurt, just like, corpse. Yeah, he killed Shane with that thing. He's gonna catch Logan with that thing. That'd be all over. Logan's like, all right, you know what? Never mind. Let me just go make some silly YouTube videos. I'm done with this wrestling shit.
You know what'll be huge will be one day, mark my words, save this clip. Don't know when it'll happen, but one day the WWE will promote Logan Paul versus Jake Paul in a WWE ring.
Oh, it might. It really
Because that's
might.
the only way to do it. They won't fight each other for real. Because, like, obviously they're brothers and they love each other. But I could see them doing, because they've had fake feuds online for years and stuff. Like, they could actually pay something like that off in a WWE ring, because obviously they'd be working together to not hurt each other. I could totally see something like that.
The other big happening, at least in my mind, at WWE SummerSlam was not the tractor. The tractor did rule. But Dakota Kai, Bayley, and Io Shirai, now Io Sky, back in the WWE mix. Bayley's return was heavily rumored. Everyone kind of thought that was going to happen at SummerSlam. But Dakota Kai, she got released in April. Didn't see her coming back. That was apparently very last minute. And Io Sky, everyone thought she was done for. She's been injured, hadn't been on NXT television. Reported that her contract was up and that she was going to most likely head back to Japan, wasn't going to resign. She obviously resigned or is close to resigning because they ain't putting her on TV without a contract. But Dakota Kai and Io Sky coming out like that, that's Paul swinging it around, being like, Vince is gone. Here I am.
Flopping it around.
Yeah, he just pulled his pants down right at the start of SummerSlam and is like, get a good look, folks. Suck it, everybody. I'm here. We're just getting started, he said. I was hype. I was like, oh, shit, this is, Bayley comes out. I was like, oh, this is nice. And then I didn't recognize Dakota's music. I was like, oh, fuck, it's Dakota Kai. This is great. And then Io, she's got that banger theme. I was like, oh, man, let's fucking go right now. Like, that was a cool way to kick off SummerSlam, I thought. This is good. I said it last week, Jensen. I said when we were talking about the AEW contracts and whatnot, and I was like, Tony ain't got to worry about, like, the male side of his roster jumping ship and everything. He did not need to worry. He needs to worry about the females who are like, look at the opportunities they're getting over here in WWE. Look how they're highlighted in WWE under Papa Paul. Like, that's what he needs to worry about. And I think SummerSlam was another indicator of that, of like, oh, we're bringing in these three women. Becky, she's out right now, but Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka. SmackDown needs some help. Like, SmackDown could use a couple of fresh faces over there. So that's where I'm worried about. But as far as Bayley, Io, and Dakota go, I thought the presentation of them was great on Monday. They established themselves as an immediate threat. They didn't look stupid or anything. I'm really looking forward to the women's division on Raw, under the guidance of Papa Paul.
Yeah. Right when this happened, I tweeted a picture of Gordon Bombay from the Mighty Ducks. I was like, this gave me D3 vibes, where Gordon's like in the stands watching his old kids playing for, the high school. Yeah, man. Here's the thing. I think Bayley coming back, people were really ready for that. Like, I know that the WWE fan base had wanted her back, and like they got that. Dakota Kai, that was a big surprise, because wasn't she one of the releases? Like,
she got released in April. Yeah.
So that right there is, like you said, Paul Levesque swinging meat, being like, hey, we're bringing people back. Like, we're like, you think she's gone? She was one of my girls. She's back. And I love Io Shirai, or Io Sky, whatever she's going to be called now. I'm a huge fan of hers. I think her entrance is awesome. I think her look is awesome. I think her presentation is awesome. I think her in-ring work is awesome. She really should be, like, if treated properly, she should be in that mix, in my opinion, with like the Beckys and Biancas and Charlottes of that company. Like, I really very impressed with Io Shirai over her career. So I'm glad she's finally getting a big stage, being on a Raw or SmackDown or main roster, whatever we want to call it. I was very pleased to see you. I actually marked out for that. Like, when Bayley came out, I was like, oh, cool, Bayley's back. Like, it's good to see. And then Dakota came out, and I was confused. I was like, she's still in the company? Wait a second. And then Io's music hit, and my brother was watching the show with me. I was like, oh shit, is this Io? And I was like, all right, like, let's go. Like, I was actually really, really happy to see it. So yeah, this is cool. Good for all three of those women. WWE, as much as I knock the product, one thing I will never knock is their collection of female talent. I think they have a ton. They have the best collection of female talent of any company in the world, in my opinion, if you look at all their brands. So this is great. This gives Bayley something big to do as like the leader of a stable. This gets Dakota back in the company and back in the mix. And this gets Io on a much bigger stage than what she was before. So I think this is a W for everyone.
I'm looking forward to the continued guidance of Paul with Raw and SmackDown. Yeah, I think the women are going to be highlighted even more. And with this stable, Becky, again, she got hurt, but coming back as the man whenever she gets back, turning Ronda basically heel. I'm glad that Liv won. I think we all thought, I mean, you definitely thought Rousey was just
Dude, okay, hold on. This dumbass referee, okay? So, hold on. So, there are people online that actually have messaged me, even people like there have been multiple people that I've spoken to since this match that are like, Steven, the ref didn't really screw up. Like, I'm like, okay, so I lost $500 because of this. You realize that, right? Like,
really? I feel bad.
So I would have won Wrestle Rumble had my prediction was Ronda Rousey winning by submission in under 11 minutes, and fucking Liv Morgan tapped out in under 11 minutes. But the referee missed the tap before the 3 count. So I missed all those points that swung to the other people that had Liv winning by pinfall. I had Ronda by submission in the right amount of time. And that was the only thing I missed on like the entire pay-per-view. I got all the other predictions right. So yeah, had that referee not missed the tap, Steven over here is $500 richer. At the very least,
you're totally Team Ronda for just beating the shit out of this referee after the match, right? He fucked you out of $500, Stephen Jensen. 100%. It's the biggest screw job in wrestling history.
Dude, fuck that match. Like it was 4.5 minutes of Ronda just beating the piss out of Liv Morgan and then just pinning herself. Like okay, like listen, all you fans out there that are like, yay, Liv, she did it. She's the champion. She finally did it. We've been waiting for this for Riot Squad forever. It's like, okay, beat Ronda in the lamest way possible after she had just been barely gotten out of that match with Natalya. Then she hugged her for some reason. Like, oh, congratulations, Liv. You fucked me over real hard in front of everybody. I'm happy for you. And then her big title defense over Ronda is getting the shit beat out of her for 4.5 minutes, and then Ronda pinning herself. Get the fuck out of here. Anyways, I do have I have some news for you, Jeremy, before we transition to the next topic. Cole's ready if we want to bring him on.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Let me shoot him a message real quick.
Okay. Well, we're done with our WWE spotlights. This is an out of order show because we're doing a live interview.
Yeah, we'll come back with back with AEW and the other spot. I don't have to work right after this, y'all. So like I'm not in any kind of rush to get out by 11. So hold on. Okay, pile driver finisher. Let's read this. Speak for yourself, Jensen. You're the one that lost money. You do make sense in the ending reaction. Oh, hey, listen, y'all. I'm kind of trolling. I don't take it this serious.
Oh, don't ruin it.
No. Listen. I didn't physically lose $500. Like I get into the Wrestle Rumble entries contest for free. Like I didn't lose $500. I want to make that clear. I would have won $500 had this not happened. No, I'm obviously like, it pissed me off because I wanted to win the money, but I'm not I'm not so ignorant that I actually feel like like that referee fucked up and he missed it.
Oh, that was great. That was legitimately my favorite segment we've ever done on the show. You shooting on the fucking ref and Liv and Ronda was so good. Oh man,
who was that dumbass referee anyways? Who was the ref for that match? I don't even remember.
Yeah, you should go beat the shit out of him too, Jensen.
Yeah. Derek said he had that 500 spent already. That's fair. I did have that 500 spent already. That's true.
I gotta start playing the Wrestle Rumble and with the prediction thing, so I can start being mad at referees when they go to a DQ finish and stuff. Dude. Start treating WWE like it's a shoot sport and get my dander up about this stuff.
Dude, it makes the shows so much more fun to watch. Like
I believe
even with the UFC, you know, I live in a state where I can't legally sports bet. So like allegedly, hypothetically, if I was sports betting on the UFC, it'd probably make that a lot more fun too. I think having just like stakes and things just makes it fun. You know, like it's just
100%.
It's a little bit more fun.
100%. I can't do like betting and gambling because I can't afford to lose just money on outcomes that I don't really have much control over. I'm not a big gambling person, like just regardless. I'll buy a lottery ticket every now and again. It's like $10 and hopefully you win. Gambling and stuff. The highs and the lows, I'm too emotional when it comes to sports anyways. I don't need to get more invested when it comes to this stuff. And then can't do it.
So I'm the opposite where like I will never buy scratch offs or ever like play the lottery because I think that's just way too much based off of just complete dumb luck. Which it is. I mean, that's the whole point. But I love sports betting. Like it's one of my favorite things in the world. If it's probably a good thing it isn't legal in Georgia, to be honest, because I'd probably have a problem. And I'm not advocating people sports bet. I don't want people to ruin their lives gambling or anything based on the things I'm saying. I'm just saying for me personally, like it's fun when I'm watching a UFC show and you could throw down like $5 and put together like a 3-fight parlay that's like very specific to like for instance, this past weekend, hypothetically, allegedly, I might have put $5 on a 3-fight parlay. And I hit 2 of the 3. And this was with like, I do method round combos. So it'll be like, by TKO in this round, like and choose the fighter kind of stuff. And I was very close to winning $350 on a $5 bet. If Amanda Nunes would have won in the first round, I would have won $350. And she dropped Pena twice in the first round and didn't wind up. Anyway, the point is, like, it just makes it fun because you're watching the show and you like $5 isn't a big deal, but like to maybe win over $300 and you're just like picking fights based on your knowledge of, because you at least have a chance of like, you know, it's different than just doing a scratch off. At least you have like knowledge of the sport and who the people are and what's kind of likely, what could happen in the fight and stuff. So anyways,
100%. Like I understand the appeal of sports betting and I would totally do it parlay is one thing. If I'm just like, all right, $5 and I could win like 300 or something, I would like kind of do that. But also I can't get more invested into sports and watch games that I really don't care about and then potentially lose money and stuff. I just don't like it. I just don't like losing money is the biggest thing. I don't like risking my money. And so if somebody wants to bankroll me, I'll gladly bet it. That's fine. We can go halvesies on it or something, but I mean, definitely not, I'm not keeping it all unless you want me to. That's cool with me. If you want to just give me $100 to bet and then I get all the profits. And if I lose, you lose your $100. That sounds like a great deal for me. But yeah, I just can't afford to like put my money out there like that. I'm too stingy with my cash. That's my biggest thing. I'm just way too stingy with my cash.
Totally understandable. And Derek in the chat said someone won over $1 billion in the Mega Millions lottery and the winner still hasn't come forward. Last he's seen. Dude, honestly, if you won $1 billion in the lottery, like
you've seen either.
Yeah, I feel like your life's kind of over at that point. Like you could live like a cool life with all that money, but like you gotta get off the grid. Like you can't let people know you just won $1 billion. Like you gotta move away and join like witness protection probably to enjoy the money. Like I'm not saying I don't want to have $1 billion. I'm just saying like it's probably a big blessing and a curse when like I wouldn't want people knowing I won that kind of money.
Right. If I won the money, like I played the little Mega Millions thing once it got over the billion. Yeah, I'll play the lottery every now and again. But like if I actually won that thing, I would just carry on like nothing changed. I would continue to just I'd show up to work every morning. I'd continue to listen to Drew McIntyre interviews every single day. I'd continue to do this show and all the other shows. I'd carry on like nothing changed. Maybe I'd take a little bit more time to myself and take more breaks and stuff, but I would act like nothing changed at all. Cause I definitely wouldn't put it out on Twitter. Hey, I won. Peace out, losers. Cause I don't need people hitting me up and stuff. I genuinely enjoy doing all this stuff. So I wouldn't just like give it up, but I would act like not a damn thing changed in my life. I would spend that money how I would want to spend it and do things that I would want to do with it. I certainly would be making big splashes, be like, all right, well now we're going to move into this giant mansion and everything. I'd be very careful about all my moves that I made if I won that money.
If I won that kind of money, I'd probably change my name, fake my death, and wind up wherever like Tupac and Andy Kaufman are hanging out. Like it would be, well, because here's the thing too, with having that amount of money, I'm with you. I like to think that I would live humbly and I still, people wouldn't really notice, but it'd be so tempting knowing you had unlimited money, like just stuff you wanted, like, because nothing would be stopping you from ever getting it. You'd have to have so much restraint to be like, well, that's a nice car. Like, I can just buy it real quick. But like, I'm not going to, because someone might notice that I have too much money and now I'm a target. Right. It's almost like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and stuff, right? It's like, I when I watch those shows, they're fun to watch. They're some of my favorite shows ever. But at the end of the day, you're also like, it seems kind of counterproductive because like you make all this money, but you can't spend it. Yeah. So it's like, anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't just like drop it on a car and all this stuff. Again, like a house, we want to try to do something with the house. Like maybe we add on to the house, maybe we do upgrade the house, but I wouldn't go like big splashy, flashy type of thing or anything like that. I feel like I would do a decent job of just carrying on business as normal. And the one thing I would probably change is I just take breaks more and be like, I don't need to do. Oh, I don't actually need to be around. And I probably don't regardless. I just like to do it. But I don't know where Cole Radrick is. So
me either. I messaged him, but we will
let's continue.
Yeah. When he gets here, we'll pivot over to him.
All right, let's go with the other spotlight.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
We're going to head back to Ric Flair's last match, Jacob Fatu against Josh Alexander. It ended in a DQ because Matt Cardona, Brian Myers came out and just interrupted things. And then Diamond Dallas Page came out and Diamond cut people. But it seemed like maybe there's two possibilities of this ending in a DQ. One, MLW didn't want Fatu to lose. Obviously, Alexander, Impact World Champion, he's not losing. So, and then, Court was like, I don't think it's great if we're going to have Fatu lose. The other possibility is Fatu or Alexander showing up on the other show and we're getting a rematch between these two. Like, what do you think the DQ is an indicator of? Just neither guy wanted their guy to lose, or, hey, we're going to run this back on Impact or MLW TV?
Yeah, I'm hoping it's the latter. And that's the reason I had the spotlight. Oh, wait. Cole says he's been in the lobby. Did you see him down there?
Do not see him. Oh, there he is. All right.
Hey, we'll get back to Fatu and Alexander in a second. Cole just messaged me saying I've been in the lobby. I can't see the lobby. Jeremy can.
He just showed up.
Oh, okay,
I don't believe he's been there for hours upon
Hey, either
time.
way, he's here. So
there we go. Hello, Cole.
Here we go. Cole.
How you doing, buddy? His mic
muted.
is muted. I have to you have to
Cole,
unmute your mic, Cole.
Unmute yourself.
I can't unmute you. You have to unmute yourself.
We'll
I think we're live now.
There we go. We're good. We're good. We're good.
Okay.
Hey,
there we go.
Everybody, we are being joined in the creator spotlight right now by a returning guest. He is the Ratty Daddy. He is your new GCW Extreme Champion. There it is. We got the belt on screen.
Yeah.
He is the king of Red Shit Mountain. Cole motherfucking Radrick is in the house. Returning guest. How you doing, man? Is this your 1st interview since winning the title?
Yeah. I don't do a lot of podcasts, actually, believe it or not. Not that I hate doing them. Just some of them tend to get, like, I know this is more than just a podcast, obviously, but like, I don't do a lot of interviews because like sometimes the questions just get repetitive.
Sure.
But like, I love coming on here because it's always good chatting with you guys. Good catching up. So, I was definitely technically in the lobby, but like I didn't enter in a screen name or anything, so I just didn't do the next step. So
see?
But to be fair, I think we can go back to the last interview, and I think I saved like 3 times. I'm a self-proclaimed idiot, so this isn't on.
True. Hey, and before we get into anything, Cole, let people know where they can help y'all out. I know you and your girlfriend totaled your car. We really appreciate you coming in here to talk with us this morning because I know you got a lot going on, and it is early and everything. But if the people can support it all, where do they need to go to help y'all out?
If they feel inclined to, literally, I think if you just at Cole Radrick, one word, is the Venmo. It's crwrestles@gmail is the PayPal. If you guys feel inclined, it's also, I think if I have Cash App, it's Ratty Daddy for the number ever. And so if you guys want to feel inclined to donate, those are the links. But there's been a lot of people reaching out over the past couple of days, and I just want to say the support is very much appreciated by me and my girlfriend. It really does mean a lot, and we always appreciate the love from everybody.
Absolutely.
So thank you guys a lot, seriously.
For sure. And do you still have 8x10s available? I signed an 8x10 over the weekend. So if y'all want to support you, like Cole's got, signed 8x10s and stuff, like there's ways you can support and also get a little something back. I'm going to put the 8x10 in my office here with some other wrestling stuff I've got from people I've got to know in the business a little bit. So yeah, support Cole. Cole, dude, huge weekend, man. Huge weekend. And you got another big one coming up, SCI in Chattanooga, coming up this weekend too. So, yeah, man, I guess first reaction of winning that GCW Extreme Championship.
That's pretty fucking crazy, ain't it? No, it's really sick. It's something that it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if I say this, if it's like a bragging way, but it's not. But it's like, when I first started in GCW, like it's still extremely hard to get into GCW. So it was like every time I wrestled there, I was like, man, like this is probably the last time I'm being brought back, and it's the last time I'm being brought back. And even until like up to a few months ago, I was still having like those thoughts of, damn, this might be the last time I get booked because maybe people don't rock and roll with me. Now they have a fucking belt, so now I have a belt. So what are you going to do now? No, in reality, it's like I got to this point where I'm now, holding one of the belts in GCW, and it's time to make a statement that Ratty Daddy's here to stay,
Yeah, absolutely. I know that was one of the things that we talked about was like you kind of wanted to get not necessarily like out of doing scramble matches because you had a really good spot in GCW, but now look how much has happened just since the last time we talked. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, when was the last time we talked? Do you remember?
Well, the last time me and you talked was in Atlanta at the GCW show.
Yeah. Well, and I meant like the interview. I know. Are you going to be in Atlanta in August?
I should be. Is GCW coming back to Atlanta?
Yeah, August 20th.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be there for sure. Yeah. I didn't realize that was coming up so soon. Dude, I got a lot coming up. I Battle Slam this weekend. I wanted to be at SCI, but I can't be in two places at once. But I wish. Jeremy, what kind of questions you got?
Oh, I just wanted to know about the match and like when you were told about, hey, we're gonna be putting this title on you. Did you know going into the weekend when the match was announced? Were right before you walked out? It's like, hey, you're gonna win tonight. Like, when were you told about everything?
I would say honestly. So it was probably about 30 minutes before the show.
Ah.
Like we were the first match, and we were kind of like getting everything together. And then we all kind of like looked around and were like, who's winning? So I was like just walking through the curtain, and Brett was coming out of the curtain, and he's like, oh, hey, he kind of gave me like the 3 cliff notes he wanted from the match. And I was like, all right, like who's over? Like, and I presumed it was like somebody else. And he's like, oh, yeah, Cole's up. And I was like,
You're looking around. You say Cole?
Is there another Cole in this match?
Yeah, no, literally. He's like, yeah, you. He goes, yeah, Cole. And I was like, all right. So I kind of went up to everybody, and I was like, it kind of feels like when you're like telling a fib almost to like your little brother. When you go up to everybody, it's like, hey, so I'm winning the match and out. Like, I was like, honestly, I partially somebody being like, no, you're not. Like, let's go actually ask who's winning the match. But that's how it ended up happening, and pretty thankful.
Yeah.
I want to know about the spots with Marco because he choke slammed you. Like he couldn't body slam you. He couldn't lift you up for a suplex, but he managed to get you up for the choke slam. Yeah, he goozled you.
It's the goozle. Have you ever been goozled by Marco Stunt?
I haven't.
I have.
He seems deceptively strong.
The guy's fucking huge. Look at him.
Yeah.
He was wearing the one strap. He was wearing the strap because the body slam he couldn't do, but I guess the strap gives you the power for the choke slam because that's the big show, I guess. But
I mean,
Hey,
he's a little
deceptively
silly,
strong, Marco Stunt.
Very deceptively strong. No, it was I really enjoyed the spots I had with Marco. I thought the crowd really, really ate them up, and then I killed him with a pedigree.
He took that. I mean, that was the callback to the Triple H when he nearly murdered that guy like the first time he hit that thing. But yeah, that was the throwback pedigree. We just spiked him. He took that so well. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, when he jumped up, I was like worried. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like as he was like kicking his legs up, I'm like, oh fuck, like I've seen this one before, you know what I mean? So luckily you're able to see me like shoot my knees underneath at the like last second, because I was just gonna go like, you know, normal, and I was like, oh fuck, like might as well try to protect little Marco as much as I can.
That's so funny. It was very reminiscent of the pedigree you're talking about, Jeremy. I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember that being a big clip, even back in like the Kazan and like LimeWire days when like wrestling clips were just kind of getting viral. I remember that being one. Cole, with your regular finisher, what's like the actual name of your finishing move? Because I've heard it called different things. I know Takeshita has started doing it.
So I have two finishers. The one that Takeshita does, I call it Little Sebastian's Curse. So
Right,
that
okay.
one. So for people that are watching, and I'm going to maybe clip this and show examples if that's cool. Obviously, tag credit, whatever. So Little Sebastian Curse is set up from behind, and then there's the one that's like the side saddle power bomb looking thing. That's one's called Cracker Jack Bomb. So they're two separate ones. They kind of look familiar, but they are like different things. But the one Takeshita does is my original one that I've done for about 5 years.
Okay, and what's he calling it?
He was calling it Little Sebastian's Curse, and then like people were like, oh, it's like the Cinnabomb. And then he's like, oh no, we're gonna call it Little Sebastian's Curse. And I went up to him. He was hanging out in the locker room for the GCW show in Nashville. And I went up to him. I was like, hey, like, you can call it Cinnabomb. Like, you're way more cooler than I am. Like, call it whatever the fuck you want. Like, you've tagged me like 5 times. Like, you take it. Like, you beat me with the damn move. Like, come on. So whenever he does it, it's Cinnabomb. And whenever I do it, it's Little Sebastian's Curse.
Okay, does Little Sebastian's Curse come where I think it comes from, of Parks and Rec?
Love you, Jeremy. Really do. Where else would Little Sebastian come from?
I gotta know these things. I gotta know.
It's exactly. You're right. It's exactly where you thought it came from, brother.
You never know. You could have your own horse you just named Little Sebastian or anything like that.
If I had a mini horse, I would. Dude, I don't think I would wrestle. I'd just hang out with my mini horse all day. Honestly, like I would be riding it through town and just.
That's what I would do too if I had a mini horse. Because look, Fly Little Sebastian, that should be your theme music for one of these events. Is come out to Fly Little Sebastian. But yes, what a great show that was. When I heard that, I was like, it's got to come from that. I should have asked that last time. But Cinnabom's a great name too.
Exactly.
You should punch Takeshita. You should just hit him for taking your move.
I tried to, and then he kicked my ass.
How was the experience of wrestling him? Because he's got a ton of buzz right now.
Sorry, I was readjusting my brightness. Honestly, it was a lot of fun working with him. The dude's like a complete pro, and it was pretty sick because like the crowd was really excited for the match, and it just made like the match easier, because if the crowd is just already biting into it, you can approach it differently in the way that you set up the back half, or what you want people to buy it on, or what certain things you want to pull out their emotions. So it was really easy for us to plan that match around that, because we already knew that the fans were going to be invested. We didn't have to work to get them invested first. So like the entire experience of working with him was really, really awesome.
He's blowing up right now. And I did see you tweet about him, because he's facing Claudio on Saturday, and you're just like, this guy's a star. Has he offered you any Cinnabon as like a return of like, hey, thanks for letting me use your finisher? Like, have you guys split any Cinnabon?
Nah, but we've split a couple beers. So I think that was our way of, toasting off to it. So definitely a couple of beers after the match, obviously. I don't know. If he gets a Cinnabon sponsorship, I might hit him up for like a gift card or a T-shirt if he gets one of those. But if not, maybe we'll see what happens. But that's the game plan.
I feel like it's close. I feel like it's close for him.
You would think they're tweeting at him all the time. Like,
yeah.
Go ahead, Jeremy. No, I got plenty. I can. Yeah.
Okay. Like last time we did have you on, it was after the death match. So it was like February, late February, early March. It was after the death match.
That long already? Jeez.
Was it after was it the Orin one?
Yeah, it was after Orin. Yeah.
Okay.
Where you nearly just tore down the showboat, literally.
And I'm gonna keep on fucking doing it over and over and over and over.
And now you've done like 1,000 of these death match. You're becoming like the new deathmatch king. Like, what makes you keep coming back to these death matches that you want to just, all right, let's do like the thumbtack kick pads and everything. Like what are you doing, Cole?
I think I've only done like 10 this year, which is still a fucking chunk. That's still a chunk. Don't get me wrong. I just really enjoy the risk aspect of it. So I grew up loving JC Bayley. He was my first independent wrestler that like I bought into. I love the aspect of being able to wrestle any style, and the fun thing about my pursuit in wrestling is I really, really want to be the absolute best that I can be in every single style of wrestling, whether it's strong style, catch as catch can, technical, lucha, death match, hardcore, even sports entertainment type wrestling where it's like a TV style. I really enjoy the aspect of challenging myself to be as good as I can in those. So when it's time to step up to the plate in death matches, I'm your guy. And it's also just a way to keep things fresh, keep things kind of like you have to think of things differently when you involve like dangerous ass weapons like glass and thumbtacks and barbed wire and panes of glass. Like you really have to think through on how things could happen and how things could go wrong. And right before you're going out that curtain, every big spot where you're like, fuck, like there's that 3% chance. Sorry, my cat. Sorry, Mac. I got one cat licking another, like cleaning him, and the other one's like a big ass baby. So, as a super tough deathmatch wrestler and also a big father of 4 cats, I just really, really enjoy the risk and the adrenaline aspect and going out there and doing the damn match and having people lose their fucking minds. And then you come back to the curtain and people are like, yo, you're a fucking madman. And that's just really, really cool. And like the deathmatch fans have such an appreciation for the art. It's so fucking cool. There'll be fans that just come up to me. They're like, they buy merch and they're like, dude, like we literally drove, 12 hours to see you wrestle at the Showboat. Like I had somebody tell me that at Tournament of Survival. And I was like, yo, I used to like drive 12 hours for like my favorite punk band. Like, what do you mean? Like you drove 12 hours and paid for a hotel room to see a dorky ass dude like me wrestle. But there's just a whole bunch of different reasons, and I know I ran a lot. It's who I am. We went through this on the last interview, so I do apologize.
Oh no, not at all. No, dude, you're the bloody buddy, Cole. People gotta drive out to watch you do your thing. There was a kind of a scary weekend a few weeks back where Hoodfoot was hospitalized, and then you were hospitalized the next night, both off of death matches. Is there anything you wanted to speak toward with that? Because as someone who's a fan of you and Hoodfoot and so many others, like it's concerning when you see that stuff, especially back-to-back nights, because you're like, I don't want to see you guys getting hurt, but obviously there is an inherent risk in what you're doing. Do you want to speak to that at all? Just kind of like what that weekend was like, and did just, I know things are just going to happen. It's just the nature of what y'all are doing, but I don't know. It just felt like that was kind of a concerning weekend for me, seeing you and Hoodfoot both get hurt kind of back to back.
Yeah, it was, love Hoodfoot. I've known him for his entire career. Literally, we grew up wrestling the same show every Friday. That was really dumb. He knows it. Like, those are like stabbing each other with broken glass. Like, it's like it's not smart. He's the one that came up with it. He came up with the idea. And even he'll tell you it was so dumb. So there's just the thing in death matches that I don't know, like I would say worries me, but it's something I try to stay away from is there's a lot of people that just go crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier. And it's super cool. Like it's insane, but there's just some things where I'm like, man, like you could build up to it in a regular death match using, regular like bumps and regular, like, the 2002 to 2006, 7 like work rate and still be safe and build a story out of it. And there's just sometimes when I see these like that, it's like, man, like that's insane. Like why would you stab somebody like in your bicep where you can slice an artery and like literally bleed out, like a la Nick Gage did? Yeah. Obviously it's completely different. Like those are the things that worry me. And, I obviously talked to Mo and I've hung out with Mo, did his benefit show and everything. And I love him to death that every time I see him, he goes, yeah, that was really fucking dumb. And I'm like, yeah, that was pretty dumb, bro. And I mean, obviously I'm not the smartest person in the world. Mine, I ended up getting, 10 or 8 stitches, which that was whatever. But I was trying to like explain to the hospital people what I do, and they were just so confused. They're like, so you weren't beat up? And I was like, no. And they're like, okay. And like 3 minutes later, somebody else, and they're like, you sure you didn't get into an altercation? And I was like, I got into a scripted one. I'll test that. I was like, but eventually I showed them a GIF of what happened, and they're like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah. But luckily, like I was able to wrestle like 2 days later against Joey Janela, so it was fine.
Yeah. We have somebody in our chat, Derek W, says, are you worried about being stereotyped as a deathmatch wrestler, or if you're just happy like only doing death matches?
So I've always said that I'm not a deathmatch wrestler. I'm a guy that does death matches. If you looked at my schedule and even in my GCW schedule, I've wrestled more regular matches for GCW this year than I have death matches. I've done 2 death matches this year outside of GCW, maybe 3 outside of GCW, and I've done I think 5 or 6 for GCW. So that's 10. And then I did 2 last year, I think 3 the year before that. So, I mean, that's what we'll say 18 matches. And I would say in the last 3 years alone, I've probably had over I'd probably say 200 matches. So that's such a small portion of it. I mean, I would if I wrestled a guy like Gringo Loco, that doesn't turn me into a luchador because I've wrestled him, 25 times in a scramble match. I would like to be a guy known as a guy that when I do death matches, I show respect to the art, and I'm a guy that's capable of doing them, especially at a high level. I will wear the fact that I do death matches with pride. I'm not ashamed of that fact at all. I love deathmatch wrestling, and I think it's fucking cool when you do it right. I think when you look at the guys in Japan and the guys in Australia and the guys in the States and the guys in England and Mexico doing death matches, there's a lot of really good fucking talent out there that are also professional wrestlers.
Yeah. Well, in a big contrast to kind of the deathmatch stuff that we're talking about this weekend, you got the SCI tournament. You're wrestling Adam Priest, right? That's
Yep.
So I mean, so that's that's I mean, that's going to be Adam Priest is known, you know, as a technical wrestler, a guy who's really good between the ropes, and a guy who's really been killing it in the Southeast. Like, he's done great on Uncharted territory this season. He's gotten over the DDT as a finisher, which I love. Like, I just love seeing old school moves like that still being used as finishers. I'm really looking forward to you and Adam Priest. What can people expect out of that? Because if people only know you through deathmatch wrestling, for instance, this is a complete contrast to that, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I am honestly this is a match I've been looking forward to for the past 2 years, legitimately. I think Adam Priest is one of the best professional wrestlers in the United States currently, contracted, non-contracted, wherever. As a professional wrestler, I think Adam Priest gets it. He's one of the guys out there. I think me and Adam Priest are going to have probably one of my favorite, like, this is me just like thinking ahead, but I think there's all the potential in the world of this being one of my favorite matches, and I think this is probably has the potential to steal the fucking show. That being said, like, I'm completely different than anything Adam Priest has ever wrestled. I think I bring a completely different style to any type of match, and I think this could provide to be really, really fucking good. Is it at the TWE Arena? Do you know? I think I'm
it's
booked on it, and I'm literally going there tomorrow. So I should probably know. But usually I just meet up with Mouse, and that's how I figure it out.
There you go. I believe it's at Saudi Daisy High School again this year.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I've gotten to get out there a few times for the SCI tournament. That's just a great weekend, by the way. I recommend anyone who can make it out to go check it out. It's they're doing. I think they have a show at TWE tonight, and then they have and then they got SCI Friday, Saturday. And it's a stacked tournament. It's my favorite tournament of the year every year. You know, I mean, you spoke of Mouse, and of course, I'm always going to ask you about how Mouse and Billy Starks are doing, and your whole crew with the BSB. I know you just pulled your eyes. How things going? How things going with Mr. Bellamy over there?
I mean, Robert.
I love that.
Robert, he's okay. You know, he's angry camera guy. I'm always looking forward to seeing him. He's like, you know, he's older than me, but he's always going to be my little brother. Billy's probably doing great. I think she's in Georgia hanging out with like a friend. So I think she's probably doing cool. I get to see him though this weekend, so I'm pretty stoked for that. I know Billy's at SCI. I think she's wrestling Robert Martyr in the first round. Yep. See, CTE is a fucking myth. I'm telling you. No, so like I always enjoy getting to hang out with Mouse. Me and him, we ride in the car a lot. So whenever we go to wrestling shows, so this is just yet another weekend heading to yet another show. But it's fucking SCI, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, you ever been to? Man. Oh, I'm about to ask if you've been to SCI before. So this will be your first like SCI prom experience. Are you gonna be hanging out at prom? I remember the year that Nick Gage was there, and he was like so confused as to what was going on.
So, there's a bar there, right?
Yeah, there's like
is it a good bar, or is it like one of those where it's like $80 drinks?
Well, so they have like the City Cafe, which is like where everyone like eats and gets like pieces of cake and stuff. And then people are gonna bring a lot of alcohol, I'm sure. So yeah, you'll have a good time. I was
about to say it depends on like my intake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How much I'll probably, because I'm like I'm not a unsocial not social person. But if I definitely get a couple Budweisers or Bud Lights or whatever in me, I'll probably turn up. And they have karaoke too, right?
They do the whole thing, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna probably have to make sure I don't embarrass myself.
Right. Oh yeah, guaranteed there'll be people up there like singing like "My Way" by Limp Bizkit and stuff. It'll be your typical like wrestling fan type thing. Yeah. So yeah, no, those are great people out there, and I know like Scott Hensley. Out there, and I don't know if Dylan Hale still has a part in the SCI. He was the guy I always used to talk to about it, but
it might be the second craziest because it's at the hotel, right?
Yeah, so I can't remember the name of the hotel, but but that's where the City Cafe is inside the hotel that like everybody stays at, But the high school is obviously that's a high school, so that the rules there are a little bit different. Like but yeah, they'll have a good crowd there, and
It'll be
yeah, man, sorry, go ahead, Cole.
I was about to say it'll probably be like the second craziest hotel experience at a wrestling weekend I've had. So I'm looking forward to that.
What craziest?
You want?
Yeah, we got to know.
I was really
we definitely have to know this.
because like, so the first time I go out to GCW in LA, mind you, I may or may not enjoy the vitamins that LA dispensaries might give out, right?
For sure.
So land, 10 minutes after landing, obviously, I'm like, oh, let's go visit a store. And we go visit a store. It's me, Effie, Alley Cat.
Right, no, I know. Yeah.
Me, Effie, Allison, and there's some other person. And they're like, oh, let's go to the hotel. And we go to this really, really, really nice hotel. And we see, the first thing I see is somebody just wearing leather, like walks like straight by. But I'm like, it's like a leather bra and like short shorts. So I was like, okay, that's whatever. Next thing is some dude's being let out by a leash with a girl. And I'm like, and like Effie's like, I don't know, like we're going to experience whatever this is. And I'm like, all right, like let's go on through. And there's like, we go in and there's like a whole bunch of like dominatrixes and like these random dudes just hanging out. And there's a dominatrix convention going on in the hotel that the GCW crew is staying at. So you have guys like Matthew Justice and like all the talent just walking through the hotel, and like all these people, and like I'm not kink shaming anybody or whatever. Sure. Like you're into whatever, be happy, it's great. But it's just like we were all just like, what the fuck? So you have all these like cartoon character wrestlers and this huge convention going on. The entire weekend we're there, and then it's me and Jimmy Lloyd, and we're like, it's like this. After the last show we were in LA for. And we go to like walk out. Oh, it's me, Jimmy Lloyd, Drew Parker. I'm sorry. And we go to walk out, and there's an after party at this dominatrix convention. And everybody, we were all like, and we just like take a peek inside it. And I was like, they were going pretty crazy in this like meeting room. And I was like, all right, well, I got my story. I'm good. Let's get to the next hotel. I need a drink.
Oh, tell me, Jimmy Lloyd and Drew Parker like went in and hung out for a while though. I love it.
Listen, we didn't hang out. We literally like, we didn't go to like to like in a strip club that would be called Creepers Row or nothing. But we definitely like peeked inside. We all got like a beer and it's like just because like you gotta experience it. You just gotta see like, and it's just like. We're just like, and yeah. It was just like, what the fuck's going on? And like, eventually, Effie walks by and he goes, it's just another day, honey. Let's go. And like, we all just laughed. I was like, yeah, like I get it, but we were all just like, what's the fucking timing of like this cartoon character cast of fucking talent? Effie, Alley Catch, Dark Sheik was also there. We had. Like not there presently, but like staying at the hotel. And I was like, wow, like, all right. So there's like a couple of that I didn't go. I can say that, but there was a couple of them that went to the actual convention. They said it was a great time. So, hell yeah. Oh, also, thank you for the thing. I appreciate it. On my way up to 10K.
Oh, yes.
Hit that follow.
Yes, follow Cole. I
just saw that. Good follow.
we try to promote on there. There you go. Jensen's just pointing to his own name. What a
I'm pointing through my name into his name.
I'm not cool, Jensen. I get it.
I gotta ask follow-up questions on one. You talked about beer, having a couple Budweisers and stuff. We bury beer here on this show. Like you got to drink something like better than just generic Budweisers, right?
I'm not much of a drinker though. That's the thing.
Well, that's good too.
So like. I prefer the weed a lot more than I prefer.
Sure, yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah.
I got to build it up, brother. I'm a worker. What do you mean?
True.
I just prefer weed over alcohol personally. But when I do drink, it's Bud Light. So I think that's a little bit better than Budweiser. And then I'll drink like Tito's or vodka or like stuff like that. If I want to drink alcohol, like I'm going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just bury beer here on this show. That's what we try to do.
I respect that. No, I drink a couple craft beers. Like I find there's this weird thing I've discovered over my career is I wrestle for like at a craft brewery or outside of one or right beside one, like at least once a month. So now I'm just like, all right, I'll go there and I'll get like a 6-pack or whatever, and I'll like enjoy it over the course of a month. But when an NFL Sunday comes back, the beer belly's back, baby.
I'm excited. I mean, doesn't preseason start tonight?
No, the Hall of Fame game's tonight.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame game.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
which is
right.
technically
You guys
preseason.
have a football show now, right?
Yeah,
I saw that.
It's me, Rob Wilkins, and Doug. With the three
Yeah,
of
I
us will be
posted
doing
about
that.
if I was going to get a guest spot and nobody answered.
When did you?
Why did you guys ignore Cole?
You think
Why
I was?
did-
Thanks,
why
Jeremy.
did
You know what, Jeremy? I appreciate it.
Hold on a second. Did you? Where did you?
I
send
said,
it?
"Oh, you're making me pull up the tape." You're making me
No.
pull
I'm
up
gonna
the
pull
tape?
this up. Hold on. Because I have another
up.
question that I'll
What?
let you.
Hey, I'm gonna answer real quick though. Cole, you're absolutely invited on to talk about your.
I'm gonna
Colts
screenshot
whenever-
it. I'm
whenever
gonna
we-
put this. I'm gonna put this on screen. Cole's gone dark. Cole, I got you. I got you on this. Cole.
You got it. Let's go. Thank you.
Yeah. Hold on. But I got to ask another question. Another follow up. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, come on, brother! Don't do that to me.
You can have more than one, but like, what you get up there and you like, all right, I'm
I
locked in
haven't
on
done
this song.
karaoke in like since I was like 8, legitimately. Oh God, I remember when I was like a kid, I did karaoke for God, I think I did like "Lips of an Angel" or something really dumb like that.
It's like Hinder.
Yeah.
I remember.
I did
that,
"Lips
yeah.
of an Angel" and "Better Than Me" by Hinder, all on the same night. I was really going through it at like 8, 9 years old. It was a real struggle bus.
Man, did you find the tweet or something, Jeremy?
I got it.
Like-
I'm pulling it up.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
uploading it. Here it is. Hold on.
Okay.
It's uploading on the StreamYard right there. All right. Am I gonna go- This was in reply.
Oh, that was a reply to my tweet.
That was
Oh, no.
replying
How
to
did I
your
miss
tweet,
that?
Jensen. And
How did
as
I
you can
miss
see,
that?
no replies. So you just
Oh.
ignored him. You
Oh,
ignored him,
no.
Stephen Jensen.
Cole, you're
No.
absolutely
That's
That's
not how this one's work. We don't get to go back to it.
probably the only person who responded to it too, and I somehow missed it. Hold on, let me get that pulled up. I'm gonna like the tweet right now so y'all know that I saw it. Here it is, dude. Cole, you're more than welcome on. You're a big Colts fan, right?
Oh yeah, I'm a big Colts guy.
What do
Okay.
you think of McAfee's performance?
Wrestling.
Yeah, I mean wrestling, talk show, commentary.
So, all right. God, you know I'm a mark for McAfee. And Jeremy, I appreciate the response. How many days later?
Oh no, I just responded.
Yeah,
just
this
now,
is Jensen. Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
Jensen,
yeah.
that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I just responded.
He had to be bullied into responding live on the
I know,
air
right?
too.
Really,
I
really,
can't
really
believe I
insane.
missed that. I can't believe I missed that.
So, as a wrestler, I think McAfee Pat's really, really dope. Kevin Giza got to work with him like years ago when McAfee first bought the ring with OVW. Like what you can tell, what I really, really like about Pat McAfee is when he does something, he does it to the fullest, and like he respects the art of pro wrestling. Like he did the stuff with Adam Cole and Triple H on the show, and obviously it was like stuff that was worked or whatever. And then like he wore a neck brace for like a straight week after one of his matches. Like he'd always like would like talk about wrestling and like would say it in like have respectful tones to it, and then would talk about, you know, how hard it is and like the things people go through, and he always puts people over about that. And then whenever you watch him, you can tell like, one, he's having a fucking blast. 2, the guy really loves doing it. And then 3, you can tell like he works really, really hard at like trying to be as prepared and as successful as you can be in wrestling. Talk show wise, he's like the only NFL talk show that I'm like, man, I got to listen to. Like, what time is it? Because his show comes on at 12.
Yeah, it
so
starts at 12. Yeah.
yeah, let's make sure we work around that. All right, a little bit here, okay? I'm still a mark, all right? I had a guy try to buy my McAfee jersey off of me for $300 at SummerSlam. I said no, I can't. It's too sentimental to me now. But
Yeah.
also, do you guys watch SmackDown a lot with commentary?
Yeah, I do. Jensen doesn't
Okay.
watch it.
Not so much.
Tell me that Michael Cole hasn't been the absolute best since Pat McAfee joined.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Even just from me watching their pay-per-views, I can tell that. Yeah.
You can tell that like Michael Cole is just like having so much more fun. It's a lot more looser because Pat McAfee is just going to say whatever the fuck he wants. Like, if you ever listen to his talk show, like Pat McAfee is very much of the guy that's like, hey, I'm going to say what I want to say. Like, I'm a players first, organization second person. So like, I think he's just a really good person as a person and a good person to have in the locker room because he doesn't like dealing with negativity, and you can hear that throughout his podcasts or just listening to his show and stuff like that.
I have to ask a Parks and Rec question now. It was in our chat. Thoughts on this from Caden? Thoughts on Jerry from Parks and Rec? Come on. Gary, Jerry, whatever you want to call him. His real name was Jerry.
Yeah, but like,
yeah. You think he got a bad rap on the show? You think he too much hate?
Okay, but like, too much is a relative term. Like, there's just some of the shit that he did, and you're just like, yeah, fuck him. But like, still, like, it's one of those things where like you either love him or you hate him so much that you love him, right?
He tried. He did his best.
Yeah.
He got picked on a lot. He got bullied.
Don't be a bully.
He was always bullied.
A star.
Fair.
Always bullying. Who was your favorite character from Parks and Rec?
Little Sebastian.
Okay, besides Little Sebastian.
It's Little Sebastian. I thought here's the thing with Little Sebastian. I loved in Parks and Rec is how all the characters interacted with him. That's how so. It is a character, just like Spider Pig was a character in the South Park movie. Still my favorite character, or not South Park, but the Simpsons movie. Okay, CT Israel.
I'm gonna ask one more because we have I want to keep you to pass back Pat McAfee's show.
I'm just joking with you all. I'll be on here as long as you guys want me. I just randomly rant. And I hate it.
I got things to do, Cole. I got kids running around here. Kids want to come in here and use my computer to play their video games and stuff. I don't live here. I just exist in their world. But I got to ask you this because you actually, this is more of a compliment than a question. It'll turn into a question. You started we have our final question now on this show is what's the coolest thing in your room? This is what we ask every guest as our last question on the show. You started this because I believe the poster behind you, I was wondering what it was. The Indiana poster. I was wondering what it was.
Yeah.
I was wondering what it was when you were on, and I was like, what is that? And then you told the story of that, and you talked about all the other posters and stuff. And so we thought it'd be a good idea. Let's just ask all of our guests, what's the coolest thing in your room? And it started because of you. I don't know, like we don't get royalties off of this show, but if we did, we would send you like some royalties because without this question, like it's become our closer. We've gotten some really cool stories out of it too. So now I got to know, like, is that the coolest thing in your room? And if not, like, what is the actual coolest thing you have in your room?
GCW Extreme Championship is probably way up there. We saw that already.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah. All right. You want to see the new, it's not, okay, yeah. Damn, I got two. Are we going for the pop or are we going for the sentimental?
Well, for whatever you want. You can do both.
Yeah, show us both.
Yeah.
All right. I'll just get the pop because that's my personal favorite.
Okay.
So I called Hoodfoot an idiot earlier, right? This is my
Is that a picture of Hoodfoot barbecuing?
Yes.
I love that.
So this is at a wrestling show, and Hoodfoot was match one just because he was the barbecuer the grill master for the day. So he was match 1, and then by match 2, he was already out slinging burgers, getting the food ready. And it was just hilarious because like he had a beer in his hand the whole time, and it's just being Uncle Hoodfoot, having a towel over his shoulder. And obviously I was match 2, and my girlfriend snaps this photo of Hoodfoot. And so now it's just a framed photo in our house because it's just the funniest shit to us. Like Mo just
That rules.
That is hilarious. That is great.
I love that.
So we got that one, and then let me see how hard this was to take off. My girlfriend is the one that sets all these up, so I don't want to fuck up on you. We'll just move over to it. Because I would have taken off, and she's like, "You fucked that up." So it's not these two. So these two are pretty cool. The Rock and Mankind Valentine's Day cards. But what's really cool is this photo right here is a signed autograph from Mick Foley. He does a comedy show, and there's a comedy club in Bloomington called the Comedy Addicts. And when I went to my first day at my training school, my dad took me to the Comedy Addict to watch Mick Foley. So that photo is like relative to the very first day I started training to be a wrestler. So it's kind of cool to like look back on. And I also love Mick Foley because he's a fucking man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, those are great. Those are great.
Actually, one more.
You have more.
I swear.
Hell yeah. Let's see it.
So we talked about my love for the Colts. I mean, obviously, I have a lot more of these, but this is one of the very cool like Peyton Manning like trading cards.
Yeah.
I have actually like 12 of them. Like I have like a rookie card. I have like a pennant card where it's like a flag. Like I have a whole bunch that some fan, mind you, again, the chat already knows, but I'm stoned out of my gourd at a wrestling show in Columbus. And some fans like, cool, I got something for you. And hands me like all these trading cards. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, all right, like 6. So now I got a whole bunch of trading cards. If anybody has a Pat McAfee one and they just want to gift one to your boy, let me know. I may or may not switch you out a merch item instead. There you go. But like, yeah. So the Peyton Manning trading cards is probably one of the cooler things in my house. So
the next
I wish I could talk football with Stephen, but I wasn't even.
Oh, come on, man! You are very much invited. You're very much invited. Hey, next step is you got to take that those trading cards and turn them into you got to bling them out like Logan Paul and wear them out to the ring on a big chain.
Oh my gosh!
Anyways,
he's not a heel. He's not a heel.
Either is Logan Paul.
He's a heel. I
mean, depending on how you look at it.
He did when he did the Pokemon.
But do we hate him now after his SummerSlam match? Because, like, honestly, like, both matches he had, bangers.
Yeah.
Stephen Jensen's best friends with Logan Paul. That's what I learned today.
I met him one time, and he was very nice to me.
You and Logan Paul are best friends? Can you put me in contact?
that's what I learned on this show today.
Yeah, man, I'll get you on Impulsive, man. No problem. Hey, No, we were talking about him a little bit earlier today. We were talking a little SummerSlam. We also talked a little Ric Flair's last match. And I just wanted to ask you kind of as we wrapped up here, because, I marked out seeing like Jimmy Lloyd like dapping up Ric Flair at the end of the show. And Ric Flair walked right up to Blake Christian. You could tell Blake was like, me? Like, okay, like, all right. And how did you feel about kind of that whole experience? Like, I thought the show was the show itself I thought was really well done. It was cool to see a lot of the talent on it. But do you have any kind of opinion you want out there about like Ric Flair wrestling that night? Because it was scary for a lot of the fans. So
I think everybody had a bated breath, but at the end of the day, like he's a grown man.
Right.
He can make his own decisions. He's a legend. And I don't think the people that were in that match would have done it if they thought it could have gone horribly wrong.
Sure.
So like I'm in my head, I was like, I'm just going to trust the professionals on this. I just thought that venue looked so fucking cool. Like, I don't know how it came across on like Fight or whatever streaming platform. I believe it was on Fight.
Yeah.
Like I just thought that venue looked awesome. Like in person, I was like, God damn, like that. It was just really, really cool. I love the TV set. I thought it was such a cool little thing. I just thought, even going out there, I was a fucking beer guy when Mansoor won. Like, hell yeah, I had the fucking best job on the show. Like, one of the best jobs on the show. You know what I mean? Even just standing on the stage, there's just a lot of people there. Like when Flair went out, like that, it was packed, like for the whole show. But like every seat was like filled that was available for Flair's match. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
think that's a good perspective.
Flair's swan song is just him saying goodbye with Jimmy Lloyd.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man,
Jimmy Lloyd there, and he's just saying goodbye, with putting over Kid Rock as his final promo, which is great.
One last question I've got, because it was announced yesterday. What's your reaction to seeing that Mance Warner's wrestling John Moxley on AEW Rampage? Because that's got to be huge for the whole GCW roster, seeing stuff like that.
Let's fucking go! Yeah. That's sick. That's really sick. Mansoor is another guy I've known literally, like, I think one of his first match outside of Indiana, it was with a road trip that we were both on together. Like, I've known Mansoor literally for 6+ years now. Like, and I think it's really fucking cool to see a guy like that, be on that stage. He definitely deserves it.
Yeah. And this kind of goes full circle, because about 5 years ago or so, the first person to ever tell me about Mance Warner, and he said, "Hey, this guy's going to be huge. If you don't know about him, like you gotta talk to him. You gotta meet him at a show." First person to ever tell me about Mance Warner was Robert Bellamy. So there you go.
You suck, Robert. You don't have to put Robert over. You could have put over. You could have said anybody told you that.
That's true. I could have just made something up. I love Robert because he's one of those dudes that I met just naturally by going to shows and just by being around him, and just next thing you know, we're talking. Next thing I know, I realize he's taking pictures. Next thing I know, I realize his daughter is wrestling, and now what it's become with the BSB. So, and it just feels like that was a lifetime ago. That was like 5 years ago, and just so much has happened since then. But
crazier.
Sorry, what was that?
What's going to be crazier is in 5 years when Billy signed to a contract and I'm retired running the training school. It's going to be great. Mouse is going to handle the business aspect. Her mom can handle the financial. Billy and her boyfriend can go and wrestle and have contracts, and then I'll just be the old guy, just half broken down at 29, 30. Just all right. Let me show you what a back pump is. All right, somebody else get in here. Do it real quick. You know what I mean?
Well, hey, last thing I got before we get out of here. Good luck this weekend at the SCI, man. You're gonna have a blast. Good luck in the tournament. For those of you who want to watch, it'll be available on independentwrestling.tv.
Is it live? I thought it's live.
I believe it's live both nights. IWTV.live. Y'all can use code Fight Talk if you want to check the platform out. That helps me out when y'all use that code. And I say it all the time, and I legitimately mean this. I think IWTV is the best $10 a month you can spend on any streaming service that has to do with combat sports. I love IWTV. Check it out. You just this weekend alone, you're going to get TWE tonight. You're going to get SCI over the weekend. I mean, great value in my opinion. And Cole, you're going to kill it, man. I'm very excited for your first SCI weekend.
Dude, I'm stoked too. It's pretty cool because like SCI has always been like a wow, fuck those people. Sorry, Brittany Griner's decision. Like I said, this just went out. So I'm pretty excited for SCI, especially when I started wrestling. Like it was like a big tournament, and it was something like you had to like work to and get to know that. Like I don't want to say in like a political way, but you had to be, you had to know the right people. Like you had to, do futures, and you had to do the Rumble, and you had to do this. And I got in it off of, I believe, merit alone.
Yeah.
I've never done the SCI Rumble, and I've never done futures or any other things like that. So it's like a thing of pride honestly, like going into this week and knowing like I got here on my like work ethic and stuff like that. And then I'm going to win the whole goddamn tournament with work ethic and all that shit. So I'm really excited for it. Who knows? Maybe I have 1 beer, 2 beer, 3 beers, do a little karaoke. People just probably not like me anymore after karaoke night, but
Hey, so just so everyone knows, that the future showcase that Cole's talking about, that'll be on Saturday afternoon too. So like you have that on IWTV Live also. They make a whole weekend out of it. So
yeah, and it's always good wrestling. Like throughout the whole weekend, it's always great matches. I'm just proud of the fact that I got to skip it, but I went my own route with it and got there.
No, you're right though. That usually was the path. You either had to be in like really good with like, shout out Dylan Hale, Scott Henson,
shout out
Matt Griffin, friend of the show. Matt's been on the show before.
Love Matt.
And it's like the action wrestling future showcase, so he has a big hand in that. And yeah, I know even like Billy, even though Billy was still pretty high status when she did futures, like she went through futures as well. I mean, so yeah, you've carved your own path, man, and I'm really looking forward to it. I will absolutely be watching live, and I'll be tweeting about it as it's going on. I'm gonna get as many people as I can to watch those shows. So,
Jeremy, you know what's crazy?
What's that?
He's gonna be tweeting live about the show, and he couldn't even tweet me back about the NFL show. Insane.
Oh man,
it's crazy.
Oh, you know I love you, man. Like
my heart hurts.
Come on, dude. Man, I've been on the Cole Radrick bandwagon since like. I mean, it's got to be so early.
You're making Jensen feel so bad right now. I love it. I think it's great, but he's feeling so bad right now. Cole, we appreciate you joining us live. Our first like live interview with somebody. So Cole has always been a trendsetter on the show, from asking, coolest thing in your room to now being our first live interview. We appreciate it. I'm glad you're well after this weekend. This very scary picture that you posted. I'm glad you and the girlfriend are well after that. And let everybody know where they can find you at on social media or elsewhere.
Like that one. Yeah. So that is my, Yep. That's my Instagram and my Twitter. So hit me up on either one of those. You can find me on Facebook at Cole Radrick. Please do not look up my real life stuff. That's been a really weird influx as of lately, which is also cool because I guess that means people like me. But please.
There you go. Thank you again, Cole. Real appreciate it. Good luck this weekend at SCI, and congrats on winning the GCW Extreme Championship, kicking the shit out of Marco Stunt, that big, strong man that he is. Thank you, Cole. We appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thank you guys.
We'll do our own football show. You know what? We'll just I got Twitch, I got YouTube. Just the Cole and Jeremy football show. That's what we'll do. We don't need Stephen Jensen.
Oh man, we'll have like an NFL XFL type rivalry. I'll and Cole, I will the Battlehawks. There you go. Hey, Cole, I will be in contact soon about getting you on soon to talk some football, man. For sure.
You think so, Jeremy?
I don't know.
I
wouldn't
thought
trust
I was
them.
for sure going to get at least a like back on the original comment.
I just liked it and hit. I said yes. Okay, I publicly accepted. I don't know how I missed that. By the way, I have no idea how I missed that. But
no, I'm nobody. It's okay. I'm used goods. You already got me. I already said I would do the interview, and you're like, all right, I don't need that.
Hey, I'll pull back the curtain a little bit more. So over the weekend, I guess it was probably Friday when you put up the thing about your 8x10s. That was I just saw you were like selling $5 8x10s, and I was like, this is a good deal. So I hit up Cole and I was like, hey man, can I get a signed 8x10? Let me know where to send the money. Sent it on over. I had no idea you're going to be winning the GCW Extreme Championship that night. So it's like, it just kind of, I'm already buying merch. And then it's like, oh, okay, wait a second. I bet Cole would want to come on the show. He just won this championship. So like the timing just kind of worked out great too.
I always want to come on the show.
Yeah, of course. We appreciate it. We do appreciate it. But no, trust me, man. Like, we're gonna need people to talk about football with us over the season. Like, so
Yeah, and I mean, it all starts with a comment or a like back on a tweet, and until your co-host had to literally be like, "Hey, Cole did actually say something."
Cool. Yo, dude, you know you can
It's
just
okay.
message. You know you can just message
I
me.
get it.
Cole.
I'm
You can
nobody.
just send me a message and say, Steven, I want to go on the show, and I'll
He
DM
wanted-
you back.
No, he
Wait,
wanted to
do you
put it
guys
out
do-
there in the
do you do
public. He
fantasy
was so
football?
excited.
That's true.
Do you
He
have
was
fantasy football, Steven?
I do. Yeah, big into fantasy football.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm very big into fantasy football.
So if you have an extra spot in a league or two, let me know.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know if something opens up. It's been me and my buddy since high school, so it's pretty rare that something opens. I know you're like rolling your eyes like, Cole, you're one of the only people I've invited on the show more than once, ever. Like,
Listen.
hey, if anything opens up, I will let you know. 100%.
I hope when you go to GCW on August 20th in Atlanta, Stephen Jensen, that Cole Radrick just kicks the shit out of you. Just, just gives you a nice little forearm shot to the head. Me and Cole are going to be doing this show from now on. Just
I mean, honestly, though,
kick
Jeremy,
Jensen out of here.
even if I went up to Steven, and he just might act like it's Twitter and just not acknowledge me.
Yeah, he might not
knows.
say anything. He's like, who?
Oh my gosh.
Who are you? Yeah.
He's like,
come on.
he's like, do you subscribe to the Patreon?
Yeah, you got rifleselect.com.
Rifle Select member?
Yeah, and to be fair, Cole was honestly one of the only people that, like, when I went to that GCW show, I got a few DMs from a couple wrestlers that knew I was there. Cole was like one of the only ones that was like, "Hey man, let's meet up when the show's over." And I was like, "Dude, that made me feel great. Like, I appreciate that." And we got to talk a little bit after the show.
Cole Radrick, you've seemed like a nice guy. You've done this show multiple times for some reason. I certainly don't understand why anybody would ignore you publicly on Twitter.
Dude,
so
am I right? Like,
I don't get
that's
it.
crazy to me. I literally was like, "Yo, man, like, let's get to know each other. Like, let's hang out." What's up? And then I'm like, he's like, "Let's do. Thank you for doing the show, man. It's really great." And then all I say is, "Hey, I can talk fucking football. I can talk, and I love wrestling. Wrestling's my passion. I love it more than anything else. I've never wanted to do anything else in my life. But I could talk something outside of wrestling for like 2 fucking seconds, and I get ignored."
Hey,
My heart can only handle so much.
Jensen's gonna
I
message you
was.
every single week. Every single week, like, "You want to do the show? You want to do the show? You want to do the show?"
Yeah, like, no, like, that's the thing. It's like, I could be like a 5-minute guest spot where I comment and I'm like, "What's up? Here's the bangers. Here's the losers. Fire Trevor Lawrence, and let's go."
Hey,
Trevor Lawrence is the god.
Thank
All
you.
right, Steven. Who's
Thank you,
going
Cole.
to who's winning the Super Bowl this year?
Oh,
well, I'm very biased, so this is
Okay,
like me asking if
non-biased.
Cody Rhodes going to win the WWE Championship. Oh, I said this is like me asking me if Cody Rhodes is going to win the WWE Championship because I'm a huge Cody mark.
We know.
Yeah, so right. I'm a big mark for the Minnesota Vikings, so of course they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. But
Okay, now if you were using, and I say this in the most loving way because I had to use this the same. If we're using our brains here and putting $1,000 on the line,
yeah. You're putting money down.
probably, man, it's hard for me to. No matter how old he gets, it's hard for me to bet against Tom Brady. Like, I think the Bucs are always going to be in the mix, and I think they've done a good job, like, supplementing their wide receivers and their tight ends and stuff in the offseason for him. I don't know. I think Josh Allen in the Bills, they're going to be real dangerous with Stephon Diggs and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'd probably gun to my head. I'd probably just go with the Bucs because Tom Brady's a winner. So
okay.
What about you?
Well, obviously the Indianapolis Colts are going to be undefeated.
Of course, right? Yeah, right. Okay.
So I think if the Rams re-sign OBJ, I think the Rams probably have a really good chance of going back-to-back. I think when Matthew Stafford gets hot, it's just one of those things that you can't fucking stop him. And especially with him having the confidence now after leaving Detroit, first year winning a Super Bowl, and then him being like, "Oh, yeah, I am a fucking guy." Like, I think that goes a long way. I think the Buffalo Bills, if you would have asked me like Sunday, I would have said the Buffalo Bills, but they just lost Jordan Poyer and somebody else for like 8 or 9. I don't know if it's for the year or for whatever. So I'm going to say the Rams and the Bucs are probably going to be my two that I would imagine. I mean, there's always going to be the Patrick Mahomes and other guys. I think Mac Jones and the Patriots have a crazy year. I think they have I think Mac Jones is going to show a lot of improvement, probably a lot more scrambling and a lot more of like a deep pass threat. But that's what I think is going to happen. I think the Colts fucking at least make the playoffs. That's all I give a fuck about. We don't have Carson Wentz anymore. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
That's how I feel about the Vikings too. Like, obviously with us having Kevin O'Connell as our head coach now, that's going to be cool to have like a young guy who like came from a winning team with the Rams and stuff and a new mindset. And I'm a Kirk Cousins fan. I know he's divisive within the fan base, but I like him and I like what we've put around him. So I'm excited. Jeremy, what would you say? You give me your bias pick and then who you think more realistically might be able to do this.
I can't even pretend to be biased with the Carolina Panthers. I at
You
least
like Baker?
Baker. I like Baker. He's an upgrade over Darnold. Darnold was just awful last season. Like Baker, I don't mind him. Last season, I'll chalk up to the shoulder thing, but he won a playoff game in Cleveland. Okay, like that's a big deal. And that was only a couple seasons ago. So I do like Baker. They actually improved the offensive line, so that should be good. But I can't even be biased. Like, yeah, the Panthers are definitely going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not writing off Mahomes, after the Super Bowl disappointment. And then last season, I think the Chiefs come back a little bit stronger this year. So I'm going Chiefs in the AFC. And then NFC, it is very tough to bet against Tom Brady. But the Rams, they're the defending champions for a reason. And Rodgers, it's always tough to bet against him as well. I think the Rams, though. I'll go with the Rams. They'll probably be a surprise team. There's always who had the Bengals making it last year, right? There's always that team that just comes out of nowhere and it's like, yeah, they're in the Super Bowl now.
I just want the Jets. I want Zach Wilson just to be a fucking dog. That's it. He's already a dog off the field.
Yes.
So I just need him to be a dog on the field. Apparently, though, Joe Flacco outplayed him yesterday, so who knows?
That's not good.
Oof.
That's not good. I didn't know Joe Flacco was still in the league. So
Yeah.
Still hanging on.
yeah.
Still hanging on.
Hey, backup money? Okay.
Yeah. Not a bad position to be in for a lot of
No,
guys.
no.
Yeah.
A third-string backup QB that's won a Super Bowl and gets at least that minimum. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Sign
knock
me
it.
up.
Hell yeah. There you go.
Cole, thank you again, buddy. We gotta run through our final topics here, Stephen Jensen. Cole, thank you. Jensen
Thank
will
you.
have you on the football show. I'll make
I just did. What are you talking about?
That's true.
Well, no.
We
It just happened.
Did you?
The
It
actual
just happened.
Did you?
Oh, no, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. Cole, I'll be in touch soon, man. We'll definitely get you on the show, man. Hey, and I do appreciate you coming on this morning. I know it's early. You got a lot of stuff going on over the weekend and with the accident and everything. So we really do appreciate you coming on, man. We really do.
We do.
No, I love being on here. Anytime you guys want me on, just let me know. Sorry for all the ranting. You guys knew what you signed
you're
up for.
good.
But you guys are the best. I appreciate y'all.
You're
Yeah,
great.
appreciate
We
it
appreciate
too,
you,
Cole.
Cole.
Yeah,
Thanks,
later.
See you,
man.
brother.
Bye. All right. Cole
Awesome.
Radrick, what a great guy.
What a great dude.
guy.
What a
Yeah,
great
he's-
dude. I legitimately feel bad for missing that tweet. I don't know how I missed it. But no, he's more than welcome to come on and talk some football. I know that Rob's a fan. I know that Doug's a big fan of Cole's. That'd be a lot of fun. Give me just 1 second here, Jeremy. Let me grab a little bit of extra water. Just so this is usually by now I'm 45 minutes into my shoot job after doing this. So got to recalibrate a little bit. And
Longest show ever.
Yeah, great show though. And once again, thank you to Cole Radrick for joining. I know I'm sounding like I'm sitting here kissing his ass at this point. It does mean a lot to me for somebody to have a weekend like he just had with all the travel and the matches, and then to get in this big accident, him and his girlfriend, and they're trying to get that stuff sorted, and for him to, to my knowledge, he had to get car repair stuff done earlier today, and that's why he couldn't make it earlier to the show. And so he's literally going from real life stuff that let me put it this way. It could have been very easy and I wouldn't have taken it personally, and it would have been totally understandable if he just couldn't have made it today. But he made time for us, and I really do appreciate that. So,
we always try to set up the interviews on Tuesdays, and you're like, hey, I think Cole's going to join us live at 9:30 when we start the show. I was like, okay, that's cool. And then you messaged me and you're like, hey, he's taking care of car stuff. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I was like, all right, then no worries. We'll figure it out. We'll just do a show. And then literally 10 minutes later, maybe even less than that, you're just like, actually, Cole said he's going to join us about 11 and do the show with us. Then I was like, all right, even better. So the fact that he was 9:30 is not going to quite work, but I'll make 11 work. And then he was here. He hung out with us for like an hour, like more than an hour, I think. Yeah, just thank you to Cole, because it was a long weekend. Just the wrestling wise for him was a long weekend. Like, I know he wrestled twice on Friday, and then he comes out and he said he was part of the beer guys at Mansor's show on Sunday. So it was a long weekend for him just in that. Then everything with the car accident. We appreciate him jumping on and doing the show with us. Go get some water.
Yeah.
Stephen
You know
Jensen.
what we should do real quick? I'm going to throw this idea out there. You calibrate the chat. Let me know how y'all feel about this. I think, because we've been doing this show now because we interviewed him, you said in February?
2 hours and 14 minutes.
No. I'm sorry. Like when we started doing the show, like when the spotlight started.
February. Since February. Yes. We're
getting to a point now, because we've had a lot of guests, and I don't want anyone to feel left out or anything, but I kind of like the idea of like a spotlight Hall of Fame at some point. Like people that have come on the show that we like make a little Hall of Fame for. And like, I think Cole Radrick really should be like the first member. He's a repeat guest, GCW Extreme Champion, first interview since becoming the champion was with us. Like, this is big for our show, I feel like. So Cole Radrick, you're on the short list for whenever we start a Spotlight Hall of Fame. Your name will probably be on there. So congratulations.
We'll do it at the year mark. We'll 1 year a Hall of Fame at the year.
We'll get a Hall of Fame going. We'll induct like 4 people a year or something like that and just keep it going. So
I don't know if we need that many inductions.
I don't know, man. We get a lot of guests. All right, let me get some water. I'll be right back, y'all.
Go get some water, Stephen Jensen. He's parched. The long show. He's usually checked out by now. I do this all day. This is what I do. Love this business, so I'm here all day. He's got a Kenny Omega figure in the background there, guys. We still have AEW to talk about. We still have other to talk about as well. We probably have like another hour left in this show. I'm going to try to run through the topics here at the end, but we appreciate y'all hanging out with us on this Thursday, which is now turned into an afternoon. It's all right, I'm getting messages of the updates from what the others in this house are doing as I've still been going on about this show. Everybody else is living a life outside of these 4 walls as I just do my silly wrestling show. And yeah, I'm just here doing this. And meanwhile, there's like real life going on around me. So I gotta keep updated on that stuff. But we appreciate you guys hanging out on this stuff. It's been a week. It's been a long week for everybody, but hopefully everybody's had a good week of wrestling, fun week of wrestling, especially with Triple H in charge right now. Derek says Cole seems like a down to earth dude. More behind the scenes stuff. After we interviewed Cole the first time, we probably talked to him for like another half hour, 45 minutes, just bantering about life and whatnot. So yeah, I never met him in real life. I know Steve Jensen has, and then he ignored him on Twitter, but you see, just talking to him the few times that we have talked on this show and interacted on social media, seems like one of the nicest dudes in the world. And the fact that he again makes time for our silly show to come on live speaks a lot about him and the person that he is. And it was really cool watching him win the title this weekend. That's the fun thing that I've personally enjoyed about this show, is that like watching other people who we've had on, or maybe we want to get on, like watching them succeed and do cool things in wrestling in the ring or in media. Derek, I am excited for the kids to be back in school. They will be starting that in like 2 weeks. All right, Jensen, let's get through the rest of our show here, because we've already had a very long show. I'm going to play the other clip again, so people reset here.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
All right, Fatu and Alexander, you think it's going to happen again down the line? Maybe an Impact, maybe an MLW. You're kind of riffing on that one, and then Cole joined us. Where are you at on this match?
So I thought the match itself was really, really good until like the DQ finish.
Right.
But and I also, what I liked about it too so much is, if you pay attention to MLW, you're very familiar with how good Jacob Fatu is and how much he means to that brand and how he put that brand on his back for so long. And before dropping the title to Hammerstone, like, the company was really, really revolved around him. And it still, to a large degree, is. It looks like he's going to get another title shot soon at the MLW title. But I think a lot more people became familiar with Fatu because of this show. I saw a lot of people tweeting about how good he is and people being surprised about it. And I think Alexander is a little more out there because more people probably pay attention to Impact than they do MLW. So I thought the matchup did a lot of good for both guys because it was a really good match. More people know about Fatu and more people might take Alexander more seriously too, just like as a champion. Like I think he's done a great job, but if you're not paying attention to Impact, you might miss a lot of how great he's been. I think that they should run it back in Impact. I think they should. And the reason this is our other spotlight, by the way, is because it was for the Impact World Championship. I think they should run that back. And I think Alexander should retain, but I think that makes the most sense. But to my knowledge, I think Jacob Fatu is locked down to MLW for like some more years.
Yeah, he is.
Which is unfortunate.
I don't know
in a lot of ways.
what kind of paper MLW contracts are written on, but according to court, it does seem like Fatu is like under kind of a multi-year deal.
Yeah, which is great for MLW and not necessarily a bad thing for Fatu either. He's kind of like a big fish in a smaller pond there, but like he's the kind of guy with like the talent and the look and the family lineage. Like he'd be a slam dunk in the bloodline in the WWE. He'd be a slam dunk doing pretty much anything in AEW. I feel like, I mean, I feel like he could be doing bigger things in MLW. And I don't really mean that as a diss to MLW. It's just more of like, there's a ceiling to how big you can get in MLW. And
don't worry, Jensen. They're working on a big broadcast deal. They're gonna have big time streaming rights soon. They're gonna be on national television soon.
Yeah, weren't they gonna be like WWE's developmental, and then like that whole thing blew up?
MLW puts out a new rumor about how big they're gonna get, like seemingly every single week.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm not even like I think Court Bauer's fine. You know what I mean? Like I think for what he does I think MLW it's an enjoyable show. I cover it for the Weekender every Sunday. When they're running new shows, they've been off the last couple weeks, but yeah, I think they should run this back on Impact. And if they ran it back on MLW, that'd be cool too. But I just feel like it's more likely to be on Impact.
Yeah. I think it's going to be an Impact rematch at some point. I hope that as well. I hope it's not, well, we just needed to do a DQ because we didn't want either of our guy to lose. I think when you book a match like that, it's kind of known that like, all right, Josh Alexander's probably going to win. So I don't think it would have been booked unless at some point Josh Alexander will actually pick up that victory. And they decided to set up a rematch with a DQ here. It's also possible that it leads to a tag team match of Alexander and Fatu against Myers and Cardona. And that's how they get around this whole thing. And we don't get an Alexander against Fatu rematch, but we do get Fatu on Impact Television in some capacity. We shall see how this one plays out. My other spotlight was Alex Shelley against Kushida from New Japan Music City Mayhem. They went to a 20-minute time limit draw. This is the first and only time Kushida and Shelley have been in a one-on-one match. They've been, of course, longtime tag team partners as the Time Splitters. This was their only singles match going to a draw. I'm fine with that. I like that it was like, okay, we're even and everything. It seemed like maybe Kushida would probably win because it's Kushida wrestling in New Japan, but Shelley's got an Impact title match coming up and everything. I like the time limit draw. I don't know if they're going to actually run this one back either, but I thought it was a very good match. It was a different pace than the rest of the show. Very technical match. It picked up at the end, but Kushida's working on the arm, Shelley working on the leg. I enjoyed this match. What'd you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I echo everything you said. And at the end, if I remember correctly, Kushida had him in the hoverboard lock, right?
Yeah.
So, like time ran out.
Right as time expired. Yeah.
So it was smart in a lot of the ways that you just mentioned. Like Shelley's coming up. What's the next Impact show? Emergence. So it's
Emergency.
Is it just Emergence, right? Isn't it? Emergence?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Right? Anyways, it makes sense because like Shelley still like he didn't get beat going into that match, and I mean Alex Shelley versus Josh Alexander is going to be fantastic. Like I think it's pretty predictable that Alexander will retain, but that's okay if the match delivers, and I have every I fully expect the match to deliver. It'll be great. And Kushida looks good too because he's back to New Japan. It is cool. I mean, like they're friends, they're allies, they're tag team partners. Like they're guys were like, this doesn't really need to go any farther than this. It feels like they went to a draw and they're still friends and they can still team going forward if they want to. They can run it back if they ever want to, but there's really no need to. And it was solid in ring wrestling. So I'm with you.
We're going to move on to the AEW spotlight. Big show from AEW last night.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. It was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
There we go. Big thing happening out of AEW Dynamite last night. Undisputed Elite imploding. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish turning on the Young Bucks, and then Hangman Page making the save. You were fired up for this, Jensen.
I was. I thought this was done really, really well. And this is one of the things about just AEW Dynamite in general that I think is really impressive about the show is I looked down at my phone last night thinking I'd been watching the show for like an hour, and I looked down and it had been like 25 minutes. I was like, how have they done this much awesome stuff in this amount of time? Like, I just don't understand. It feels like there's just no downtime. And I love that. Some fans complain. It's like, there's too much happening. I can't follow it all. I'm like, this is just nonstop, just like good wrestling shows. Every week it feels like. I thought last night was a really good episode of Dynamite, like you just said. Undisputed Elite breaking up. I expected that to eventually happen, but I didn't expect it last night. So I thought it was done really, really well. The way that Adam Cole, like, there was layers to that whole Adam Cole thing that I found interesting. One was that the Young Bucks didn't want Bobby Fish as a partner, and that to me alone was like, that's kind of what I've been saying about Bobby Fish for a long time. Like, I think Bobby Fish is fine, but in comparison to like Adam Cole or Kyle O'Reilly.
Hating on Big Dick Bob Fish over here. Not a fan of that.
I think he's fine, but I don't think he's on the same level as Cole or O'Reilly. Just straight up.
They're the Young Bucks, and Bobby Fish is about 140 years old. So
because you can't have young and old together, is what you're saying. Anyway, so just one of those things where like that was kind of funny to hear that, where it's like that was part of Adam Cole's reasoning was we want to win these trio titles, and I'm hurt. And I'm not cleared to wrestle. Kyle isn't ready to wrestle, and you don't want to team with Bobby. It was like, oh, that makes Bobby seem kind of lame. But anyway, then Adam just like kind of out of nowhere is like, well, you're not going to be able to compete, at all because of what we're about to do to you. And it's like, wait, what's happening? And then like all of a sudden, like Bobby Fish has got a chokehold going, and Kyle O'Reilly takes the legs out, and it was the same thing that happened when Hangman came out to save the Young Bucks. It was the same exact thing that we had seen in New Japan when Kenny helped Matt Jackson up from the ground when they were like, the Bullet Club was kind of in shambles. And the same thing happened last night with Hangman coming out and picking up Matt from the ground, extending his hand for him to pick Matt Jackson up from the ground. So like, it's long-term storytelling. It makes perfect sense to do it now. I think the Hung Bucks being together makes total sense. This is the culmination of like multiple multi-year storylines all coming together. Like Adam Cole's yelling at the Young Bucks saying, "You think I forgot about what you did to me? Like I never forgot about what you did to me." So we have the tie-in from them killing him on BTE, and poisoning him. We have the payoff of Hangman and the Young Bucks reuniting. We have the callback to Hangman and the Young Bucks, as well as Kenny and the Young Bucks. We have the looming return of Kenny Omega that's inevitable. Like, and I think he'll align with Hangman and the Young Bucks, and they'll be the Elite again. It'll be the four of them. And like, I feel like in just a few minutes last night, they really tied so much together, and it's going to really pop off when Kenny comes back. So I loved that. I loved everything about that segment.
I thought it was great. You figured something big was going to happen there. I know people thought like, oh, Kenny might be returning. I thought it might be a little early for the Kenny return, but they had to kind of make Young Bucks babyface almost. They've been hinting at it for a little while, even going back to Full Gear, where they just like nodded at Hangman and let him take out Omega. Like even that was a little bit of a hint of a babyface turn. Or just showing like they're cool with Hangman. And then we've seen it over the past couple of weeks. You knew when Omega came back, he's going to get a big babyface reaction. So like turning the Young Buck babyface makes sense in that it puts a little bit more heat on Cole and Red Dragon, which is good. Hopefully those guys get cleared soon enough to where they can actually wrestle. I assume if they're setting up this angle, they're closer than not to returning to the ring. We got the trios tournament coming up that ends in All Out. We still don't know fully who's in that. I imagine the Hung Bucks seems like it's setting up for, assuming that Undisputed Elite, or I guess just Undisputed Era, assuming that they are healthy, they're going to be potentially in the finals against the Hung Bucks. I do want to give a shout out to Kylie and Haley from Tag Talk on Fightful Overbooked, which is every Sunday. They've been pushing the Hung Bucks agenda for a very long time now. They watch all the BTE and everything. They've been talking about this for like months. I feel like 'cause every time I get the description, it just mentions the Hung Bucks. So they've been in on this. I thought it was great. Hangman got a big reaction, which was great to see, because since he lost the title, he's been kind of associated with the Dark Order, and I think Dark Order kind of are where they are, and we'll still see what happens there with the Dark Order. I know on the last BTE, Hangman was like, "You guys are going to win the titles. Like, you guys are great. Believe in yourself," and all this type of thing. And now it seems like, well, Hangman's going to be teaming with the Young Bucks. You got to think that they're the favorites on this thing. But I thought it was a very good segment, and I look forward to seeing where it's going to go with Kenny Omega being back in the mix as well. Because, like you said, he's got to be back pretty soon. You got to assume he's back within the next couple of weeks here.
Yeah, for sure. So they've set up a lot of stuff. This is, like I said, it's the culmination, and we're getting payoff now for stuff that's been building literally for years across the independents, multiple promotions, all throughout the history of AEW. Like, it's, yeah, I'm very
butterflies on
butterfly
Hangman's jeans.
Yeah,
those are great.
He's such a unique kind of like almost like ambassador for the next generation. Like, I know he calls himself the anxious millennial cowboy, but like it's interesting. It's interesting to see, because he's I don't know how to say it. He's very like woke, but in a good way. You know what I mean? He just seems like a very progressive type of guy in a lot of ways. I don't know. Like I don't feel like you'd see a lot of guys rocking butterfly jeans like that and still look like such a badass. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, but it's still on brand for Hangman, because when you see him tweet about the stuff he tweets about, and like, you can tell he really cares about people, and he's just cool. He's just comfortable being himself, and I just think that's it just really shows through. So yeah, I thought that was funny with the butterfly jeans too.
I'm sure that Young Bucks, they're always going to get great reactions. Their heel work was so good. It's just obnoxious dicks with everything. I am going to kind of miss that. I do love them as heels. They're very good at that, but we'll see. I'm sure they'll be fine as baby faces. They're just great wrestlers. They go out there in great matches and get good reactions every single time. So they'll be fine as baby faces. But shout out to the Young Bucks with all the heel work they've done over the past like year and a half when they aligned with Omega. Everything. Oh, there you go. Jensen
just got this.
Figures of everything.
This is new. Amazon exclusive. Let's go. Young Bucks. And I'll just throw this out there too. 1 of 3,000. John Moxley. Let's go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Jensen.
Anyways.
Yes. My AEW spotlight is actually the video game. So they announced more details on Fight Forever. Still don't have a release date. I know Sean reported earlier this year that they were kind of aiming for around September. We're a month away from September, so we shall see if they end up hitting that. But we did kind of get features. We learned there's an exploding barbed wire death match in this thing. There's like 40 different weapons. A trailer leaked out. And let me tell you what I'm most excited about, Jensen. These mini games that they have. Yes, this baseball thing, like exploding baseballs and like the dance, like little mini games. Like, I love the like Mario Party mini games, the Pokemon Stadium mini games from like the old 64 games. Mm-hmm. And they're working with THQ Nordic, famous for doing the No Mercy games and everything with 64. You're gonna throw me some AEW mini games on this thing? That's all I need. I don't give a fuck about the wrestling. Like, don't care about that at all. Let me just play these mini games all day. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, it looks like they're just making a fun video game.
Yeah,
and that's all I'm asking for. Like WWE, I heard the WWE 2K game was good this year. I haven't played it. I've heard good things. I'm not going to knock it, but one of my criticisms over recent years with those games has been that it's become almost too realistic. Like the realism has outweighed the fun aspect. And I just want to have fun playing these games. So like, that's why every now and then I'll play a game like, Wrestling Empire or like Retromania or something, just because it's fun. It's different, but it isn't like realistic. Right. I think there's a spot for that. I think that like the wrestling simulator type stuff that 2K does, I think there's a spot for that in video games for sure. but there's also a big gap that's been missed of just fun. And this game looks fun. Like the in-ring gameplay stuff, it didn't look like the most crisp I've ever seen. But it looks like it's fun. Like that's all I care. Like it looks like it's going to be easy to play, which is a big, I guess, kind of criticism of probably the 2K games is they get more and more complicated and advanced. And in my opinion, the best wrestling games ever are the ones you just mentioned that are the same people are making for this, like the WCW NWO World Tour, Revenge, WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy. Like those 4 games, that's my childhood right there in video games. Like and part of it is that they're just very easy to play. Not a whole lot of buttons, very easy to figure out. And Derek's saying more of an arcade style. See, I'm okay with that. Like if it's fun. Like sometimes arcade style could be bad though, right? Like I think Royal Rumble for the Dreamcast, that was an arcade game. It was pretty terrible, but it's fun if you got some buddies around. But it's super unrealistic. Could be fun. Anyway, I love the mini games, like you said. When I saw the weird exploding baseball game thing, I was like, this looks like fun. Like even if I have friends that aren't wrestling fans, they might want to play this game with me. You know what I mean? Like, so that's yeah. And I didn't even know that was leaked. I just saw some like random videos for it. I saw like Shivani and Britt Baker talking and whatnot. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely buy the game. I'll be one of the people that buys it the day it comes out, or I'll pre-order it and then have it ready to download the day it comes out. So
I'm really looking forward to it. I have not been excited for a wrestling video game in a long time because it's just been the WWE 2K stuff and for the past few years. And this year's was good. I wasn't like looking forward to it because the last one was so bad. So I was just kind of taking a wait and see kind of approach with it. But it has leaned way too much on the realism side. And like the most fun things about those games have just been like trying to glitch them and break them and see what kind of like stupid things you can do in the game and not so much like the actual gameplay, which is not good. And this is why I love like the SmackDown vs. Raw series is like you can do some glitchy stuff but like there's so much fun to be had when you go to like WWF New York and like the helicopter and everything. Yes. Like that's not realistic at all, but it's just super fun to do with your friends.
You jump off the SmackDown fist.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
like that. Like
right.
That's just fun stuff to do that it certainly isn't realistic. But the video game should be about, especially wrestling. Right. I do like some realism in my other sports games like hockey. I wanted to have a realistic, authentic experience. Basketball, I love the 2K games, but when it has like the realism and everything, well, the wrestling, like so much of it is over the top. So much of it is just like, it's not scripted and it is a sport. It is real, but you can just do so much dumb shit in pro wrestling that like, I don't need a realistic experience with that. Just let me do fun and cool shit with all of that, because there kind of are no rules when it comes to wrestling and what you can do on it. The match we watched, the scramble match with Cole, I forget his name and I apologize, but he has Marco like pressed on his shoulders like Samoan drop, and then he flips him into
Shane Mercer.
Shane Mercer.
Yes, into the moonsault and battery, the backflip.
And he's like holding the dude's hand on this to like balance him and stuff. It's like you can just do cool shit like that, and we understand like it's a theatrical performance sometimes. But, like that's the kind of stuff I want in a video games, to be able to do stuff like that, because that. Again, there are no limitations and no rules when it comes to wrestling. So let me do that instead of, there was one WWE 2K game where like you'd have to roll out to the outside to like take a break and stuff. You'd have to start every match with like a lockup or like a chain sequence. It's just, it got way, way too much of like, hey, we're trying to create a realistic experience, but then it's not actually realistic because all your body parts go through the ropes and it just becomes stupid. So I like what AEW has done based on the trailers and everything. The mini games is really all I give a shit about, because even if I get tired of playing like the wrestling stuff, I'll get lost in mini games forever. I don't know if you are a big like baseball fan.
MVP I used to love the baseball video games. Yeah.
MVP baseball, I think EA did it, where they had like the mini game where you like hit the ball up the ramp. I think Manny Ramirez was on the cover. I don't remember what year it was. That's all I played on that game. I'm not a big baseball fan. But I do enjoy the baseball games. That's all I would play. That little mini game where you just launch the ball up the ramp. The best thing in the world. Give me mini games. It's great. I love this decision by AEW to do mini games.
Nice. My favorite baseball games were like, I was a big baseball fan as a kid. So like, I just loved playing baseball games. So like There was a game for the Sega Genesis called Sports Talk Baseball, which is still to this day one of my favorite games ever. And I was really into the Ken Griffey Jr. N64 games, Ken Griffey Jr. and Slugfest. What I love so much about those like SmackDown games you were talking about, when you could jump off the fist or like get on like a helicopter and stuff, which was so great about a game like that was you had the option to do all that stuff. But if you didn't want to, you could just have good like matches in the ring and have fun playing matches. But if you wanted to take it crazy, you could go fly on a helicopter and jump at somebody onto the ground. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the fun aspect of it. And I'm looking forward to the mini games also. I really quickly, before we get out of here, there's an extra spotlight I have to throw out, and this will be fast. Jeremy doesn't know I'm bringing this up, but a bomb dropped yesterday, news-wise, that we have not discussed, that we have not talked about. Slam Ball's coming back, apparently. So
hold on, I gotta call you out on this because
Yeah.
you were like, "Who's bringing
Yeah.
back Slam Ball?"
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the mention. I was like, "Oh, Jensen doesn't know yet."
I didn't see.
Yeah,
That was organic. That was how that's where my mind is at all times. So I was watching AEW and I just like left my TV on afterwards and BattleBots came on.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, good for Kenny Florian. Like still like got something to do, commentating for BattleBots. And I haven't watched it since like the 90s or whatever. And as I was watching it, I was like, if this can exist, like how is Slam Ball not on television?
Right.
And then people started hitting me up like, dude, it just got announced today that it's coming back. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, really? And so, and then what that did was that really opened up this, it decompartmentalized some of my memories from growing up. And when I was younger, there were these channels I used to get. One of them was called Hotlanta, and it would show like reruns of like, there was this whole programming block that was like ECW and then Slam Ball and then Roller Jam. And then like they had like this strip poker show that was like really like a PG type show, but like when you're a kid, it was like watching the Howard Stern show on E and being like, oh my God, I can't believe this is on television. Now it's like very tame compared to what you see now. But like, so anyway, you get through this, you start going down this rabbit hole. Last night, after I texted you about, rescheduling to get Cole and everything, I watched a solid like 3 hours of Roller Jam that I found on YouTube.
Paul Heyman's favorite sport.
Do you remember that show though? Like when it was like, okay, that's some of the best professional wrestling I have seen in a while. It's so entertaining watching these because that's all it is. It's just pro wrestling while they're skating. Yeah. And I'd recommend checking that out on YouTube. They got to bring that back too. I tweeted that out after. I was like, okay, hold on. So we got Slam Ball back. All right, now we got to work on Roller Jam. So let's get that going. Anyone in the chat who wants to see the return of Roller Jam, I would very much like to see that come back. And if you want to find there, I found a bunch of episodes on YouTube for free and like pretty decent quality. So shout out to the old TNN, the Nashville network back in the day. So there you go.
I saw Slam Ball was coming back yesterday, and then I popped so much when I saw your tweet about BattleBots is back. Like somebody bring back Slam Ball, and I was like, oh, Jensen's about to get flooded with comments and be like, it's back, dude, it's back. Pros versus shows. That's a good shout.
Yeah.
When I saw Slam Ball was coming back yesterday, I think I just quote tweeted the article. I was like, I will find a way to write about Slam Ball like as a Fightful article. Like
about Slam Ball. We got to get in the game, Jeremy.
I mean, that's cool too. I'm washed, dude. I'm washed. Dude. I get killed by some of those dudes.
Dude, I would too, but like, man, if we start training now,
think we can make it.
Yeah, I think we could. We used to play a little bit in my backyard. I had a trampoline that we attached to and it was very dangerous. Shout out to Daniel Sowerson, one of my best friends in the world, who is a broadcaster for the New Orleans Pelicans nowadays. He was hospitalized playing Slam Ball in my backyard. Those double jumps are dangerous. Like when someone lands and someone lands right after, and you get that double bounce. He got someone kicked him in the back of the head on a double bounce while we were playing Slam Ball as kids. Wound up in the hospital. Anyways, let's play some Slam Ball. And also, I can't wait for it to come back. I'm looking forward to the return. And like I said, let's now start a petition to get Roller Jam back. If I can live in a world in 2022 or 2023 when I can just sit down on my couch and I can watch AEW Dynamite and then I can turn on Slam Ball, and then I can turn on Roller Jam. That's good time.
You're in heaven. That's heaven for Stephen Jensen. If Cody Rhodes is somehow involved in this as well, that's all you need. Cody Rhodes host Slam Ball?
Hey, Cody Rhodes is in the AEW video game. We didn't mention that. So he's still in that, which is awesome. So let's go.
Oh, man. Guys, we appreciate it. We went nearly 3 hours today. I know our show's usually long, but we have a taped interview that we play. This is nearly a 3 hour, just completely live show. Again, shout out to Cole Radrick. Thank you to Cole Radrick for joining us. Jensen, go ahead and plug everything you need to plug, man.
On what's today? Today's Thursday. On Sunday, you'll hear me next. That'll be on the Fightful Select Weekender podcast. I should be at Battle Slam live that night as well. So I'll try to get a couple of audio interviews or something while I'm there, take some pictures of the event. I'm looking forward to Baron Black versus Little Scrappy. That should be very interesting. On Tuesdays, myself and Doug do live rounds. That's on the RVD Tito for Life YouTube channel. Y'all might remember that channel from when Bill and Doug used to talk about TNA wrestling back in the day. That's 10 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday. There's something I missed. Oh, well, the new football show that's going to be starting on August 27th. That's myself, Doug, and Rob Wilkins. That'll be on twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Me and SP3 got some stuff cooking, trying to get our stuff going again. It's just been a scheduling thing, but look out for something with me and him sometime soon. Degrassi Dudes, Nerds of the 90s, something along those lines. And I really feel like I don't know if we're going to be, I'll ask off air, but I know that Impact Emergence is next Friday. And I don't know if me and Denise are doing the post show for that or not yet, but because I know there's like Rampage and SmackDown and stuff too that gets covered that night. So I may be on there for that. If not, just look out for the Weekender. Got y'all covered, and make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, all that good stuff. Appreciate y'all joining us for the this long edition of the Spotlight. Didn't have to work today, so we kind of stretched it out so that
the spotlight is on you, Jensen. That light coming through. Look at this.
It is, and I have my blinds down too, and it's still coming in.
Guys, we appreciate it. Again, thanks for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next Thursday with a new episode. Everyone go to FightfulOverbooked.com. FightfulOverbooked.com. Let me get that right. The YouTube channel over there. We got new content every single day. Later on today, Will Washington has Day After Dynamite, reviewing last night's Dynamite. We got new shows every day up over there. Just go check it out. Like the show, subscribe. We cover a bunch of stuff. Just go check all that stuff out. All right, everybody. All right. You have a good weekend. Everyone have a good, happy, safe Thursday. Have a good, happy, safe weekend. Bye, everyone. Enjoy your weekend.